I'm tired of you talking about should the Sixers trade the 3rd overall pick. We're going to be the newsmakers today. There's a lot to react to. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
This season was all about World Series or bust, and you just lost your number one reliever for those playoffs. There is no way anybody should say anything other than this guy messed up, and you should hold him to that standard instead of going, yeah, but he's such a nice guy.
Look, he cheated. He literally cheated and hoped nobody would find out. And he screwed every guy over in the clubhouse who wants to win a World Series. Every one of them. He screwed them over. Period.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Tuesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, what a beautiful morning we had today, man.
We both had the same observation, though. As I was turning at like King of Prussia to head down the Schuylkill to head down towards Philly, it seemed like the sun was coming up earlier today.
It was like bright. I'm in the car at 4:25.
Right. And it was bright. This morning it was bright.
I could see where I'm actually walking this morning to my car. It was weird.
It was unbelievable.
Must be a beautiful, clear day today.
I love it. That's great.
Before the, world turns tomorrow, where there will be rain for the next couple of days. But let's enjoy this weather today.
The world always turns.
Yep. All right, so the Eagles decided to be in the news yesterday.
Boy, and when we left, there was like no Eagles news.
Yeah, none.
I'm on the golf course yesterday, and I do not check my phone on the golf course, and I'm playing, and it was our friends Dan White and Associates, and Dan White's getting his Eagles alerts.
Yeah,
on his phone.
Somebody has to do it.
I'm like, Dan, he goes, Sirianni contract extension.
Yeah, that's some pretty big news that we're going to react to today. Nick Sirianni and the Eagles agreed on a multi-year extension. Here is the statement from Jeffrey Lurie. As an organization, we have always strived to create a championship culture of sustained success. Nothing is more important to fostering such an environment than having tremendous leadership. Nick has embodied everything we were looking for in a head coach since we hired him 4 years ago. His authentic style of leadership, football intelligence, passion for the game, and growth mindset have helped to bring out the best in our team. I am excited for what the future holds for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, look, there's no denying that this guy has had a ton of success. Wins, losses, 2 Super Bowl appearances, won the Super Bowl. I mean, it's unbelievable considering how it started.
Is it true, though, what he says? And look, it is Nick Sirianni's day, and he deserves it. And I was pressuring Adam Schefter last week. Remember, this was Adam Schefter's homework assignment.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
I said, by next week, I want to know why we don't have a contract extension. We've got one, which is great news. But is it true, though? Read the Jeffrey Lurie statement again, the very beginning of it.
As an organization, we've always strived to create a championship culture of sustained success. Nothing is more important to fostering such an environment than having tremendous leadership.
Okay, and then go on.
Nick has embodied everything we were looking for in a head coach since we hired him 4 years ago.
Okay, right there. Stop. Has he?
Winning, yes.
Correct.
That's what matters.
Because I'm going to tell you there are many other coaches that he's had that have maybe embodied more of the professionalism and things like that you want more than Nick.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the winning, it just shows you that winning is the best cologne.
Yeah, winning's the thing that matters the most.
It matters the most to these people because as you talk about professionalism as a coach, Andy Reid ran laps, and Andy Reid doesn't run laps, obviously. But Andy Reid ran laps around Nick Sirianni as a professional.
Correct. Yeah.
So winning is what matters.
It's all that matters because
and that's what we care about. We want to win.
There was legitimate talk about whether or not he should have been fired following the collapse. And then the season comes to an end. And remember, there was the 8 days where nothing was announced, and we're all kind of wondering, all right, so is he going to be back or is he not going to be back? They never had to make a statement because he was still under contract. But we were all kind of just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then finally, he has the press conference with Howie Roseman, so you know that he's back. And then last year, through the Browns game, it was shaky
dicey.
Waters.
It was dicey.
Like through the Browns game, we weren't sure if Nick Sirianni was still going to be the guy moving forward. Like I always bring this up every once in a while. Remember when the Eagles tried trading for Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers? Like they weren't sold on Jalen Hurts as the franchise quarterback.
They get turned away by those teams.
And you know what? It worked out for the Eagles because They said, you know what, let's just give it another year. Remember, they moved the first-round pick to the following year. If this doesn't work out, we'll have a draft pick to use on a quarterback. It worked out. They got to the Super Bowl in 2022. Kind of the same thing played out for the Eagles with Nick Sirianni. There was a legitimate shot that they could have moved on from him, and they said, you know what, let's give it another year. And they were patient and played out.
I think it's awesome, though. The point you bring up there, to me, speaks to the excellence of the Eagles, but also speaks to the process that the Eagles took of how shaky it actually was. They weren't sold on Hurts. They weren't sold on Sirianni. There's twice in Nick Sirianni's tenure where his job was on the line. And I'm talking about in the very beginning.
Yeah.
7 weeks into his tenure, he was 2-5. They came back from Vegas. They were on a bye week, and he got play calling duties stripped from him.
Right.
Oh, it was depicted as Nick said, no, Shane Steichen, you take the play calling duties. I will tell you that is BS.com. I do not believe that for a second, that a guy 7 games into his NFL tenure as head coach said, you know what, I'm self-aware. No, I'm not good at this.
Right.
In fact, he even said it. I'm not good at this. Yeah, you take it over. No. And to me, it points to, though, the Eagles being quick to rip off the Band-Aid. That's a great attribute to have in business of any kind, to be able to say, we recognize something's not working, fix it. Fix it now. Don't putter around for a year or two and then fix it.
Right.
Fix it now. I think that's a great attribute to have. So I praise the Eagles for it. But I also say, man, Nick Sirianni, he's the guy who is walking down the street and he misses walking in the open sewer grate. And the piano falls from the movers or lifting it up into the apartment. It drops right behind him. He has so many times dodged bullets. But he builds a great culture. He's a winner. And he absolutely has earned every dollar of that pay increase.
Yeah, and look, ultimately, it's what people in-house think about him, and that's all that matters,
Sure.
right? Saquon Barkley, I remember telling the story before the season started, but it was after training camp or after OTAs or something. And Saquon Barkley straight up said, yeah, I didn't like Nick when I was on the Giants. I didn't like the way he acted on the sideline. I didn't like some of the antics that I would see. I didn't like the mugging for the camera. He himself did. Saquon,
Sure.
Your team MVP last year. But now that I've gotten here and now that I've learned who Nick Sirianni is and I've gotten to know him, man, I love that guy, right? So clearly there is something that Nick Sirianni has in terms of relationship building, culture building. We talk about how important that is all the time, especially in football. And he's got that going for him. And so congratulations to Nick Sirianni, a guy that I am not afraid to admit I wanted to be moved on from following the collapse season, because I don't know how you can go 2 months without changing your plan and then going to the big business meeting, and by that I mean the playoff game against the Buccaneers, and come with the exact same plan. And
God, it was bad.
And it was a horrible game. And I thought, wow, with all this talent around you, you couldn't even come up with a last-second change of direction. Just try something. But, man, he turned things around. Now, I got to ask a couple of questions. And this is a day where I'm celebrating Nick Sirianni.
Yes.
But I'm curious. I want you guys to talk about this, and we'll get into this more coming up next. But I want the people to chime in as well, either on the phone lines or the text line at 610-632-0975. How comfortable are you with Nick Sirianni as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles? Because let's face it, the things that you brought up, some of the things that are negatives, he does not call plays, right? And I'm not saying that he has to.
No, but he doesn't.
But when you have a new offensive coordinator every single year because of the success of your team, clearly, right? The reason why you're losing OCs is because you're successful. We saw the drop-off post Shane Steichen. Now we could see a drop-off post Kellen Moore. Not sure. And this goes back to, you use the plane analogy. The pilot passes out.
The pilot passes out, and Nick Sirianni's sitting in 11C, and they say, can anybody fly this plane? And Nick Sirianni sits there playing Sudoku.
Sudoku.
Is it? I thought it was Sudoku.
The hell is Sudoku?
I think it's what my wife plays.
I know Sudoku, yeah, like the old-fashioned number game.
Yeah, the number game.
No, I think she plays Sudoku. I'm telling you, it's a thing.
So it's a word search.
It's
It's
like a shapes game.
Oh.
I'm telling you, it's a thing. You just don't know it.
Gunner,
It's
you
a
learn
thing.
something new every single day.
You learn something new every day.
So
it's
here's
one of those things I could never play, by the way. Could not play the spatial games.
Here's what we'll do. Coming up next, We'll go through the many pros
The
of
many
Nick
pros.
Sirianni. We'll also go through the cons of Nick Sirianni. And I'm curious, how comfortable are you with him as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles? There's Wadoku, John Jones, whatever the hell that is.
It's a block puzzle game.
Yeah, have fun during the break with that.
I can't play. Oh, I can't.
I'm going to try
do
to
it.
figure out how to log into this damn computer.
Well, that's worse than Waduku.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Connor Thomas.
To Sirianni's credit, coming out of the
Tuesdays at 6:15. There's very few of us here in the building. I locked us out of the computer system.
How'd you do that?
So we have one login, like throughout all the computers here. Like I could use the computer that you're sitting in front of. You just use the iPad.
Yeah, I'm not
And
using that.
I had a
computer.
brain fart and just forgot the password and kept trying, and now we're locked out. So my bad. You're gonna have to do
That's
all the.
'cause they think you're
gonna have
Al-
to do all the research.
They think you're Al Qaeda
Yeah.
trying to get into our system.
Well, no, that's the email address.
Oh,
That's the Duo authentication.
How else are they going to get the Do the Deal audio from 2014?
Yeah, exactly,
Like,
man.
come on.
That stuff is important that we need to keep safe, and that's why we have so
I
many.
know terrorists are interested in that stuff. They're using it now.
Yeah.
See, you guys are a little behind the times. They're using this stuff now. They're using drops.
Oh,
They're using stuff like that now to fool people. It's like all part of this AI thing. You guys got to get with the times.
yeah, that's all.
Get with the times.
That's on us. All right. So Nick Sirianni,
Congratulations, Nick.
how comfortable are you with him as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Very.
Yeah.
Very. But I will say this. Though I've been very critical at times, I didn't want him fired. I have not called for him to be fired. So I'm
you're
not,
a coward. You
I'm
didn't have
not
a take.
spiking the football on that, but my whole reasoning was not that I thought Nick was doing that great a job. It was that there is zero chance that I am firing a coach who'd been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. Just wasn't doing it. You couldn't, if I was Jeffrey Lurie, you couldn't have made a case to me to say, we're going to fire a coach who you've hired who has made the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
So if I was Jeff Lurie, I would have gone, nope, we're not doing that. I'm going to figure out that this guy is not a total dope and he can figure something out, and I'll give him one last chance. So, no, that's not happening.
So I put down a few pros and cons.
Okay.
Of Nick Sirianni.
You made one of
during
your
the commer-
T-charts?
during- Yes, I did. I'm
I've been using that term all the time now, by the way.
Very proud of my T.
Your T-charts, I like it.
All right, we'll go pros first.
All right.
Winner.
No question.
Period. Right.
He's 48.
Period.
He's 48-20 in the regular season.
Yeah.
Winner.
And
He's winning more than Charlie Sheen.
And his playoff record is now pretty good. What? It was
You're pretty good?
4 wins last year. How many wins to get to the Super Bowl? 2 in 2022?
Two.
So 6 wins. So he's 6-2 in his playoff
Yes.
career. Or
No,
6-3 because the 2 Tampa losses.
Right.
6-3 in the playoffs. That's pretty damn good. All right, players coach. But I did the little bullets.
Now, what do you think of that, though? How much do you value that?
So here's what I
Because
value.
I don't value that at all.
Again, I did the bullets. Players want him to be him. If you remember, Jordan Mailata said, look, he needs to become a little bit more professional, but they didn't like that he tried to become like this robotic figure that he wasn't. And once he started being himself, now he went over the top against the Browns, right?
He went totally over the top.
And I think that was then the principal's office visit that you mentioned.
Hey, could you come to breakfast tomorrow?
Yeah.
We'd like a little talk.
Yeah, we'd like to just chit-chat.
That's why Jeffrey Lurie's statement was a little bit of a fib.
Yeah, I got you.
A fib.
But he then became sort of back to who he was in previous years, and the players clearly like it. They do.
Sure.
They all talk very highly about it. I think it's cool that he gives guys opportunities, like Kenny Pickett, to kneel down in the NFC Championship game.
I
in
like
the
that he
Super Bowl.
calls off the dogs in games and gets starters out of games.
Yeah, and I think
Because a lot of coaches don't do that. By the way, Andy Reid doesn't do that as much as Nick
No.
Sirianni does.
And I like that he talks to the players about it, right? The Saquon with the rushing record. He had the conversation with him during the Giants game for the single game record.
I enjoy that part of him very much.
And I have one that I think is important. And even though it might be a con that he can't call plays, his willingness to work with others. He stepped aside and let Vic Fangio do his thing.
His willingness to subjugate himself and his own glory
Yeah.
is an impressive quality.
Yeah.
And it's an impressive quality of leadership.
We saw two coaches prior in Chip Kelly that was like, no, it's my way. And this is what we're doing. And I'm not listening to anybody else. And I'm going to be a dictator. And this is how we're going to do this. You're going to have sleep schedules. You're going to wear monitors. You're going to drink smoothies. Where Sirianni goes, all right, what do you think's best for this defense?
Yep.
What do you think's best for the offense? And I give him a lot of credit for that. So
I think he's
continue
less
talking about it.
arrogant than some of these other guys.
I completely agree with you. So, how comfortable are you with Nick Sirianni as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles? Chime in at 610-632-0975. But Nick Sirianni getting his extension was not the only bit of news the Eagles made yesterday.
Uh-oh.
We'll discuss the return of an old friend next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sirianni is here to stay. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Yesterday, the Eagles announced they agreed to terms on a multi-year contract extension with head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni has had an impressive start to his career so far, which includes the highest win percentage in franchise history, being the only coach to reach multiple Super Bowls with the team, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. The exact terms of the deal have yet to be announced, but Sirianni's going to be here for many years to come. One thing that may not be here for many years to come, however, is the tush push. The league is set to vote on the future of the play tomorrow at the NFL spring meetings. Yesterday, the Green Bay Packers revised the proposal to ban the play. The language prohibits an offensive player from pushing, pulling, lifting, and assisting a runner other than blocking opponents for him. We're going to find out the fate of the play tomorrow. The Phillies began a 4-game series against the Colorado Rockies last night with the 93 win, and they're now in first place in the NL East. Oh, and first place overall in the National League. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, and Edmundo Sosa all came through with 2 RBI, and Kyle Schwarber blasted his 300th home run of his career. The Phils and Rockies are back at it again tonight. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound for the Phils. First pitch is tonight at 8:40. This update was brought to you by Mattress Firm. Get matched and sleep at night during Mattress Firm's Upgrade Your Sleep sale. Take 120 nights to love your new bed or your money back. Restrictions apply. I'm Ren and Gunn on the home of the NBA playoffs. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Texting, the easiest and most convenient way to communicate.
Texting.
I gave you some of the pros that I wrote down for Nick Sirianni. The cons, I mean, you can obviously guess. Antics is one of them. Doesn't call plays if needed. But there's one that I put down that I'm curious to see how it plays out this year.
What's that?
I wrote down confusion of identity, which was something that I talked about a lot last year in the first 6 weeks of the season, that they had a team that was built to run, and yet they threw the ball, 30, 40 times the first couple of weeks of the season. It took the offensive lineman going into his office, and I give him credit for listening, right? Like,
yeah,
that's something I give him credit for.
I don't think he could honestly not listen.
Yeah.
When the leaders of the team, who also have Jeffrey Lurie's ear,
Right.
that if he doesn't listen to them, they're going to go right to Jeffrey Lurie.
Yeah.
And say, this punk's not listening to him.
And then if you remember, last year before the season started, Kellen Moore, it's Kellen Moore's offense. Then like a few weeks later, it was, no, it's my offense. Kellen Moore's just calling the plays. Then a couple of weeks later, it was, it's a collaborative effort. And I was like, all right, so what is it, dude? Are you calling?
Give us an answer. Spit it out.
What is it? And I don't know if he was getting mixed messaging from the people upstairs. Because let's face it, I don't want people being upset when they hear this. Nick Sirianni isn't necessarily making a lot of the decisions.
I don't think Nick Sirianni's the chess master.
Howie Roseman is.
Right, but that's okay.
And that's okay. They have a great marriage when it comes to the GM and head coach relationship. It is a great marriage. But the thing is, now you have to find out, all right, is Kevin Patullo this offensive mastermind that they try to make it out to be when we have not seen him call a single play in his entire career? And if that's the case, is it his offense this year? Is it Kevin Patullo's offense this year? I'm not entirely sure, and I don't know if Sirianni's entirely sure. He had his own identity crisis last year with all right, should I be the CEO or should I be this player's coach? I think there was a lot that happened last season that I'm amazed they overcame to the point where they went on a freaking tear and then win the Super Bowl, and that's amazing, and that's why you should have faith and confidence in Nick Sirianni. But one of my things last year where I was kind of looking at him side-eye, I was like, all right, who are you, dude? Is it your offense? Is it not your offense? Are you a CEO or are you not a CEO? Do you want to be a player's coach? Do you want to be the antic guy, or are you trying to be the guy that's clean cut on the sideline? You had the weird shaving head moment.
Well, wait a minute, though. You got to look at Bryce Harper.
Who's batting over 500 since
How
he shaved his
about
head.
Nick Castellanos?
Maybe it's a trend.
Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper do it, and everybody thinks it's cool.
They said, you know what? It worked for Sirianni.
Well, I mean, Nick Sirianni looks like a mental case when he does it.
Listen,
let's
he did
be
it.
honest.
He won a franchise record 10 wins in a row after
He did.
that.
I know. It's amazing.
He
Facts are facts.
looked like a mental case, but he
Shaved
did
head
it.
Sirianni, man.
I would look at it this way, though. The same things that we're saying, which are, by the way, you were just spitting facts there. You can also say are adaptability.
Yeah.
Which are all immensely applaudable attributes to bring to the table.
How many coaches in this
as a
city
leader
have
and
you
a coach
seen that could not adapt? You've seen it
Correct.
a million times.
Correct. How many people do you see in your daily life that can't adapt, that are asked to do something that they don't want to do? There are many things in life you're asked to do that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And people just are like, I just don't want to do it. I don't like it.
Yeah,
This
some
doesn't
can't-
seem
some
right.
can't handle
and they
it.
will not adapt.
Yeah.
And I love watching people sort of die off because of it.
And look, I know you said, hey, he kind of sort of had to listen to all
Yeah, we
those
had
leaders. But again, he
He
could have
did.
stood his ground and said, no, this is the way I want this team to be run.
He could have.
Brian Johnson was here, and it failed miserably. I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to prove everybody that I know what I'm doing. How
Well-
many times have you heard it's because I said so, right?
Oh.
Well, now that he's won, do you think that changes? We saw it change last time with
No,
the
I
head
think
coach that won.
think he found who he is.
See,
And I'm excited about that.
See, here's what I worry about. I worry about it because he had 2 creams, 1 sugar as his offensive coordinator who owed him the job. He owed him getting the job. And he owed Jalen Hurts getting him the job way too early, as it showed by his performance. And now we got Kevin Patullo in the job, who also owes him the job. Kevin Patullo, nobody even asked him to interview for a job like that. Nobody ever tried to poach him. And Nick Sirianni, he's his guy. He's appointed as his dude. How much is Nick Sirianni going to be doing this year going, hey, Kevin? Because let me see your game plan for this week. Okay, add a little of this, add a little of that, do this, do that. Where he didn't do that with Kellen Moore. He didn't do that with Shane Steichen. I'm interested to see.
Yeah,
that.
I'm curious to see how, and that's why I still have.
And I hope we don't see a lot of that. I hope Nick stays CEO. By the way, Joe Paterno was the CEO. Great coach. Bobby Bowden was the CEO.
Yeah.
Great coach. There's a lot of coaches, more in college, that are CEOs. Mike Tomlin is a CEO that oversees. John Harbaugh oversees. But, so I need to see more of it.
That's why I put confusion of identity in cons, and that could be fixed this season. You never know. I'll see how Kevin Patullo plays out. All right, before we get to our text message and calls in the next segment, the Eagles also made another bit of news yesterday before the Sirianni extension. They are bringing back, per Jeff McClain, who we'll talk to today at 8:25, as we do every single Tuesday, they're bringing back Joe Douglas to have a part of the role in the front office.
I like this very much.
I love it. And I know it didn't necessarily work out with the Jets. And if you go back to his time with the Eagles, there were some good drafts. There were some not so great drafts. I think having more minds and good minds in your front office is good, especially when you're losing all these people. A lot of people have left for the Raiders. Like, they need to start finding, all right, who can we have work alongside Howie Roseman? They already know each other. They found a formula that worked because, look, he was a big part of them winning the first Super Bowl back in Super Bowl 52. And you know what? Because Howie has grown and because Howie has found some sort of formula that works, he can then also work with whatever Joe Douglas brings to the table, but still have the upper hand because he's the guy that's panned out more.
I'm completely fine with Joe Douglas coming back. I like Joe Douglas a lot, and I don't think he was a buffoon as a general manager.
I don't think so either.
And he was with a heavy-handed owner that wanted certain things done.
That's the thing, like, who is going to be successful in the Jets with the Jets?
Well,
not many people.
Yeah.
And so Joe Douglas, like, I remember he was on the field. What was it? The NFC Championship game? He was on the field walking with Howie, and we were talking about, like,
which I didn't like, but it was okay.
Oh, you didn't like it? I loved it.
No. I was like, do it. I don't know.
I love it. What is it?
So I think this year is this year. Like, keep everything into this year.
Yeah, but he had nothing to do with last year. He was just there as a guest.
Yeah, I just don't think that.
They were just welcoming him back.
Yeah, that's great.
Early.
That's great.
I love it. I think it's a good thing. I mean,
no, I'm glad he's back. I'm very glad he's back. As far as guys that are on the market, yeah, it's a good guy to add.
And especially,
and how he's getting poached all the time.
Well, that's the thing. That with all the people that have recently left, I mean, we've seen two guys that have been a big part of their drafting and their roster building go to the Raiders. Right, Tom Brady and the owner of the Raiders are opening up the checkbook, and they're bringing people over.
And Colin Cowherd's been sniffing around Brendan Gunn. We heard that news.
Oh, is that true?
Then I heard Greeny has been DMing Haley, trying to see what her interest is, what her situation is. Sort of pisses me off, but you got to expect great talent's going to get poached.
Absolutely, especially when you have a great tree like John Kincade does.
It's going to get poached.
Unbelievable.
It's going to get poached.
Gunnar, how comfortable are you with Nick Sirianni getting the extension?
I mean, how can you not be comfortable with it at this point? The guy's done nothing but win and go out there. And one of the things I would like to add under that player's umbrella, player's coach thing is he'll fall on the sword for his players. That I don't think a lot of coaches will do that. They can be a player's coach, let them do what they want in the locker room, but they're not going to go out there and make themselves look like fools to better their players. And Nick Sirianni has shown that. He'll do that time and time again. He's a guy, he's 6-3 in the postseason. He's willing to adapt at all times. I don't see how you can not be thrilled that he's going to be your head coach. I know he is a bit temperamental, but, I mean, who isn't in 2025?
Can I say to both of you, though, on this? When we say all he's done is win, how much on the meter of winning? If I was to say to you, when Andy Reid wins, how much of the win meter do you give to Andy?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And how much of the win meter do you give to Nick?
Not as much.
I am not trying to discredit Nick Sirianni. I'm just trying to have an honest conversation.
I say not as much.
I say absolutely not as much.
And again,
but I still credit Nick. But
it's like when that list came out. There was that head coaching list that came out a few weeks ago, and I think Sirianni came in fourth, right?
Fourth or fifth, yeah.
And
he doesn't touch as much of the of the formula.
But the numbers are so overwhelming that I don't know if I can just write him off completely. He's responsible.
Nobody's saying write him off, but
it's not. Yeah, I don't want him written off.
Last year, I think a lot of people expected the Rams to have a bit of a down season. Sean McVay coached that team to a final drive against the Eagles in the divisional round of the playoffs.
And I'm still mad about it.
He had an impressive season as
We're
the
really
head coach of the Rams.
If it hadn't been for the snow, you don't know what happens.
Yeah, the future of Cooper Kupp was all weird.
Right. It was weird.
And he coached that team to a final drive against the Eagles in the divisional round of the playoffs. Shanahan, he is an offensive, as much as you might not like him, he's an offensive
But is there
mastermind.
anything that Sirianni can ever do to lose that label, to gain that favor? I don't think so.
Just winning more and more, as long as he keeps on winning over and over again.
Shanahan, it's Memorial Day weekend. Shanahan's getting ready to put the towels out the pool.
All right, coming up next, we'll check our text
And
line.
leave for hours.
Phillies got a nice win.
First place Phillies.
Damn right. Phillies got a nice win yesterday. We'll talk about them a little bit more. And I just saw something that I'm interested in bringing up to you guys.
Uh-oh.
Because it's something that we thought there's no way they'd allow it. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
Haribo approaches with
6:41 here on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, what's amazing, it's almost as if the computer was listening. Oh, wait.
What do you mean?
We're talking about Nick Sirianni, and our question is, are you comfortable and confident with Nick Sirianni as the head coach? And I know somebody might say, wow, that's crazy. They won the Super Bowl. Hot take media. I'm just asking a question because there is a perception to what Gunnar was saying last segment. Like, there are people that kind of write Nick Sirianni off because he doesn't call plays. We don't necessarily know what he does. So I just saw a tweet from a guy named Marcus Whitman.
Okay.
Who has a big YouTube following for football, draft analysis, all that guy. He's just a big football guy, right? He's a football guy. He's like at DeCecco. And he quote tweets the NFL's tweet that the Eagles announced the extension of Nick Sirianni. And he says, Nick Sirianni has been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. And yet I still have no idea if he's a good coach. Like, there is a perception because people don't necessarily know what he does. They realize that this roster is stacked. Right?
Right.
Offensively, it's amazing. You bring in the best offensive coordinator that was available last year. You bring in the best defensive coordinator that was available last year. You're able to hit on these draft picks. 2 players, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, who were in the top 5 for defensive rookies of the year. And Nick Sirianni doesn't, from a person that's watching a game Sunday, not following the Eagles the way we do, right? Because this Marcus Whitman guy's not from Philly. He watches a game and goes, what does he do? Now, there's a lot more, especially if you're Mr. Football Guy on YouTube, you should realize there's a lot more to coaching a team than just X's and O's and just calling plays.
He has no idea.
Right, exactly.
And that's a casual.
But that's the perception on the outside.
That's
people
a casual observation.
Yeah.
I heard one on ESPN overnight. The fan base wanted Nick Sirianni fired last year at the bye week. No, that's not true.
There were some people that were asking for it.
There were some stupid idiots, and I'm going to say it, stupid idiots looking for content on the radio.
Yeah.
Who did radio shows? Who did radio shows on it in order to get dopes to pick up the phone and call them, or to be able to create radio content out of it. That's what it was. Don't portray the fan base as that. Stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah. I hear you.
Pisses me off.
All right.
The fan base wanted him fired. No, some dopes did that put up a stupid poll question and asked a bunch of stuff to try to create social media clicks. Stop.
Phillies won last night, Johnny.
They did, baby. And guess what? They woke up this morning.
9-3, they beat the Rockies.
Well, they're terrible.
And if anybody went to bed because you were disappointed with how the game was playing out,
Oh, it was bad.
you missed a power surge by the Phillies offense in the final 3 innings. Going into the 7th inning, it was 3-1 Rockies, and they're making Kyle Freeland, for the second time this season, look like Cy Young because he's having a horrible year. Going into the game yesterday, he had a 6.15 ERA going into yesterday's performance. He was able to drop it to 5.68. His 2 outings against the Phillies yesterday, 5 1/3, 1 earned run. Earlier in the year, back in April, 6 2/3. He allowed 3 earned runs, so not a spectacular start, but a quality start. Every other outing has been horrible for Kyle Freeland, so they make him look like Cy Young again. And then they get to the bullpen, and the Phillies offense just wakes up. They put up 1 run in the top of the 7th, 4 in the 8th, 3 in the 9th in order to win 9-3 yesterday. Alec Boehm hits home runs in minor league ballparks and Colorado. He gets his 2nd home run of the season yesterday. And Mundo Sosa goes 4 for 5. Kyle Schwarber hits his 300th career home run, so congratulations to Schwarber.
And no, he hit it into, I think he hit it to Utah.
Yeah, it was a freaking blast. Turner, 3 more hits yesterday. Bryce Harper, 2 more hits yesterday. Brandon Marsh tallied 2 hits yesterday.
The power is not there with Bryce, but it seems as if the stroke is.
Yeah, the bat's there.
And that honestly is all I give a damn about.
Yeah, he's raised his average up to 263. The power will come.
It's all about the stroke.
Honestly, that's all I'm worried about right now is just him consistently right now getting up on base. That's all I care about.
Stroke
not going to fall into that.
Stroke man.
Nah, I'm not doing that.
What? It's a song.
Yeah, I understand.
A one-hit wonder, right?
There
Billy Squire. Come on, man. You heard it in Billy Madison. Oh, man, it's a great.
Heard
song.
it in Billy Madison.
Oh, man, it's great.
No.
Billy Madison's a classic, first off.
Heard it in high school. Idiot.
Oh, Billy Madison was in high school. He was in high school at the time.
For God's sakes. My God, the two of you. The two
Oh,
of
man,
you.
that's how I base my history. Wasn't
Well,
it
Diet
Diet
Coke's
Madison or
tight.
not? All right, what do we? Also, real quick before we get to the text line, I just saw
Yes.
a tweet from Adam Schefter.
Yeah, what
going
is
into
it?
the commercial break,
Go on.
and you swore this wouldn't happen.
What's that?
And I agree with you, by the way. So I'm not just saying you're.
What do you mean?
idiot.
Whoa.
Sources: a vote to allow the NFL players to participate in flag football for the first time during the 2028 Summer Olympics in LA is expected to pass at today's league meeting in Minneapolis. Nothing is official yet, but as one source said about today's vote, quote, the Olympics should be easy.
Why?
I don't know.
Wow.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of coaches and GMs and executives that are going to be watching those Olympics with one eye shut because they're scared.
Somebody tears a hamstring playing in the damn Olympics.
Yes.
I'm going to lose my mind.
I remember when the NFL did and it was a Georgia player, might have been Terrence Edwards, who tore an Achilles or something playing beach volleyball or something at an event that was NFL sponsored.
Okay.
And I'm like, why the frick are they doing this?
Like, I can get on board with Embiid playing basketball in the Olympics. It's been there for pretty much
can't.
my whole life.
I can't.
Flag
I tried to
football,
warn
a
you.
made-up sport, I'm not getting behind that at all. Like,
All right.
at all.
All right, so let's open that up for the people as well, as that news is coming out early in the
We do not
morning.
need this. We do not need it. Oh, wait. Now, Joel Embiid says, by the way,
He might play tight end.
he would like to, he is interested in trying to get a gold medal, and he's willing to write letters to at least 3 countries to be on their team.
Dude, he's a red zone threat. He's 7 feet tall.
I would like to play for them.
Throw a corner route.
Dude,
That'd be
your
great.
Embiid
Post route?
sounds like Shaq.
It does.
No, it's got to be better.
All right,
I am not a bitch.
So coming up next, we'll check our text line for the first time this morning. I apologize. We got to talking a lot this segment.
We did.
How comfortable are you with Nick Sirianni as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles as the news comes out yesterday
You
that
should
they
be very
signed the
comfortable,
extension?
by the
You
way.
should be. But let's now also bring this up. The NFL will vote today and looks like it will pass to allow players to play in the Olympics in 2028. There's a lot of concerns that surrounds that. People go, it's flag football. There's no contact. Imagine a non-contact injury. Oh, it could have happened at any time. Well, would you want it to happen in a time that matters or not? It kind of goes back to the Saquon Barkley Week 18 argument. In a game that didn't matter, did you want him to play in that game, even though he was going for a record? Do you want players to play in the Olympics? Flag football. Chime in, 610-632-0975. By the way, that's not the only thing that is being voted on this week. Talk about the tush push next as well. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sirianni gets extended. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Yesterday, the Eagles announced they've agreed to terms on a multi-year contract extension for head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni has had an impressive start to his career, which includes the highest win percentage in franchise history as a coach, being the only coach to reach multiple Super Bowls with the team, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. The exact terms on the deal have yet to be announced, but Sirianni's going to be here for many years to come. One thing that may not be here for many years to come, however, is the tush push. The league is set to vote on the future of the play tomorrow at the NFL spring meetings. Yesterday, the Green Bay Packers revised their proposal to ban the play. The language prohibits an offensive player from pushing, pulling, lifting, and assisting a runner other than blocking opponents for him. We'll find out the fate of that play tomorrow. The Phillies began their 4-game series against the Colorado Rockies last night with a 9-3 win. They're now in first place in the NL East and first place in the National League as a whole. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, and Edmundo Sosa all came through with 2 RBI, and Kyle Schwarber blasted his 300th career home run last night as well. The Phillies and Rockies are back at it again tonight. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 8:40. This update was brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection today at groundworks.com. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA playoffs, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Sports.
Touchdown! Saquon Barkley!
on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Dr. Andrew just performed his third dose of eye drops for John Kincade.
Appreciate that very much.
This is what we do, man. I need you to be able to see when we talk on the radio, obviously.
I got to tell you this, I've never had this before in my life. Like this, I've had a sty before, but I've never had something like this before.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's something else. I hope it's not. I hope it's not. Like, I mean, there's other things as
With
I
everything
read.
that you have gone through, man.
I swear to God.
I hope it's not too.
No, but
Right?
I had a thing. No, because I had a thing called iritis before.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of iritis.
I've not.
It is a condition before where I thought I had.
You usually
I thought
have your wrongest.
but I had very good. But it's called. It looks like pink eye. I thought I had pink eye, and this doesn't. This is not it now. And I thought I had pink eye, and we were away, and Olivia was like, "Oh, Daddy has pink eye," and we thought I did. So I was taking pink eye medication over the doctor called it in for me and everything. When I finally got to a doctor, we came home from the beach, and I said, "It's not getting any better." They sent me to the emergency room.
Oh no.
And said, "This isn't pink eye. You have iritis." And they told me that if I hadn't gotten this medication, within 48 hours, I could have lost sight in my eye. And
that sounds bad.
It's an autoimmune disease.
It's the inflammation of the iris.
But it's an autoimmune disease that lays secret in your body and lays there and then just comes out. It came out again like 8 years after that and never has shown itself again.
Yeah.
So anytime the eye comes out, it just freaks me out. But this is just a style.
You got a black cat of poor health that follows you around.
I swear to you, it's just like, though many blessings in life.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, many curses. Many curses. But I keep getting up.
We'll update you on the tush push here momentarily to start the 7 o'clock hour.
And the eye issues.
And the eye issues.
Yeah,
everybody wants to hear about
Thank you,
buddy. But let's check our text line at 610-632-0975. Nick Sirianni gets his extension yesterday. How comfortable are you with Nick Sirianni as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, knowing that there are a million pros and a couple of cons? There are legitimate cons. I feel like you can get that with any sort of coach. You can get that with any GM. You can get that with any player.
Sure.
So don't get all upset when you hear that. But I wonder how much those cons weigh on you as an Eagles fan. And also, now that we saw this from Adam Schefter this morning, a little addition to the show sheet, always be prepared to move around, guys. Adam Schefter reporting that it looks like it will be voted for that the NFL will allow players to participate in the 2028 Summer Olympics, which will include flag football.
Remember who wanted to play? Your quarterback.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts.
Who actually was in the commercial.
He's the face of it.
Yeah, he's the face of the Olympics.
Remember, he said he would love to play, when that commercial came out.
Yeah. And look, they played in it in the Pro Bowl, right? Wasn't the Pro Bowl 2 years ago?
It was.
That
the
was
Pro
the
Bowl.
first year
How
of
about
the
this?
flag football.
How about this? No, freaking no. No.
We're also scarred because of what happened just this past year.
It's also just not a real sport in my mind. Like, I can go to bed at night with Embiid playing in the damn Olympics because it's a real sport.
Yeah.
Flag football, I'm sorry for all the guys out there that want it to be a real sport. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a real sport.
Not.
It's not.
Like if the ladies play out there, fine. Like, that's fine.
No, yeah,
because
exactly. Like,
it's not.
It's when you look. It's when you watch the Olympics and you see, oh, so and so won a gold medal in, and it's the most random thing in the world to the point where you go, you know, if I quit my job and just worked on that for a year,
stop.
I might be pretty good at it. Maybe not Olympic level, like curling, right? Like, you know, I could probably pick up curling pretty well if I practiced every day.
Do you know the Olivia's high school, 7th through 12th, the school she went to?
Yeah.
They have 4 flag football teams for the girls.
That's awesome.
And I respect that 100%.
They have a varsity. They have a JVA, JVB. They have the what they call foundations. They have a 7th and 8th grade program.
That's awesome.
That should be in the Olympics.
The women playing flag football, it's huge, and the girls are so into
Hold
it.
on. There are men that play flag football. Remember
Not at Marist. No.
All right.
They don't let the dudes.
I'm not talking about your high school.
They don't let the dudes play at Marist.
No, remember there's that guy who's like the quarterback. He's won gold medals.
And he was mad when Jalen Hurts was in the commercial.
And he was upset that Patrick Mahomes said he wanted to play. And he goes, I'm better than Patrick Mahomes at this. And it's like,
No, you're
not, dude. Like, I get it. Flag football is different than the NFL. Much different in terms
You're
of the
not
NFL is
better.
more difficult. Patrick Mahomes having time, not needing to worry about a blindside sack.
You're not better than Patrick Mahomes.
Come on, bro.
At anything that says football.
Yeah.
Flag football, fantasy football, whatever it is, you're not better than Patrick Mahomes.
What about European soccer, football?
Well,
I think Patrick Mahomes is better at that.
I have no idea.
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering
I'm
possibilities.
talking real football.
Sorry.
Okay, keep it real.
You're going to offend a lot of
Keep
people.
it, the European, look, I'm talking about the football. Whereas, soccer, soccer, I bet you it'd be very hard.
It was
That guy
called
could be
football
better.
before it was called American football. Just saying. What do we got on the
We
text
don't call
line?
it American football.
Football Americano. We got Brian in Dallas checking in saying, my worry this year is Nick reverting back to the Brian Johnson experiment. I'd feel much more comfortable with the proven OC, but I'm still comfortable with Nick overall.
All right, so see, there's a little pang of doubt. Like, I'm worried with this offensive coordinator that isn't Kellen Moore.
Aren't you?
Yeah, but, again, this is about Nick. We're asking about Nick Sirianni. Are you comfortable? And the first text that we got is, yeah, I'm comfortable, but.
I'm asking about you, though, too. Are you comfortable?
I'm not
'Cause a
comfortable
year
with
ago-
Kevin Patullo, no.
A year ago, you weren't.
I'm not comfortable with Kevin Patullo, and knowing
But how does that reflect
that,
on Nick to you?
knowing that Nick Sirianni will not overtake play calling duties is a bit of a concern, yeah.
Because Nick's going to be,
That's why I have the cons list.
he's going to be more comfortable because he's got his boy in there.
Yeah.
It's like
His hand-picked person, yeah.
it's his handpicked guy.
When does winning get you that right, though? Like, when do you feel comfortable with him doing that? Does he just have to do it?
I think he had the right. I think he had the success. And because they went all the way to the Super Bowl, which means a lot of the other candidates were gone,
That's what it was.
I have no problem with Howie going, you know what, fine, Nick. You think Patullo's the guy? You work with him. You're the guy that's with him every single day. We're going to give you this shot. But if it doesn't work out, I would not be surprised if Howie had a very comfortable, candid conversation with Nick saying, hey, if this does not work out, we are going to find another offensive coordinator.
I would tell you this, and this is just my opinion. I do not know more than Jeff McClain. I do not know more than Adam Schefter or anybody. So that's just an opinion. If the Eagles had, let's say, been out in the first round and all the offensive minds in the NFL were available, Kevin Patullo is not this team's offensive coordinator.
Right.
No,
because some offensive mind, every offensive mind in the NFL would have been knocking themselves over to get to run this offense.
Yeah.
at some point, though, getting a one-and-done OC that's going to get ripped away, poached away for a head coach based on your success, that's not sustainable. Like, you have to take a shot at hiring from
Why?
within. Because you can't just have a new OC every
Yes, you
other
can.
year. That's impossible
Yes,
to
you can.
maintain.
It's
You know
worked,
what they
worked
do?
for 4 years.
You know where it does, Gunnar, where I'm going to tell you you're completely incorrect. It works all the time for the top programs in college football. And the top
Sort
program.
of.
And no, the top program. I'm not talking about programs that you follow. I'm talking about the top programs in
National
college football.
championship,
I'm talking
mind
about the top programs in college football. They constantly churn out their OCs and their DCs because the best programs can sustain. You absolutely want the best guy.
But
If
why
I could
have we not seen that in the NFL? Like, every year.
If I can have the best candidate, because in the NFL it's different. Because in college football, the best programs get the best talent year after year after year, and don't have a salary cap, and don't have a thing where everything is made to be even. The NFL is meant to be even, so they don't have a draft. They don't have that. That makes it a totally different playing field, which changes that up. But I absolutely every single time. Oh, I have an opening. Oh, this guy may only be here for a year. Get me the brightest offensive mind that I can have. If I only can have him for a year, I still want him. Get him here for a year. Oh, and by the way, let him hire an assistant. Let him bring in a guy that he's going to tutor.
that knows his offense.
That's
going
going to be his right-hand man. And the hiring
See,
process.
I like that idea.
And the hiring process is going to be, you're the mentor, you're the mentee, and I'm hiring you. Look, we understand each other. You're in line to be the new guy.
Well, then
why
you could
couldn't
make the
Patullo?
case, right? You could make the case that Patullo, who was here,
for 18 years in the NFL.
right, but who has been here with Nick too, and Nick does want an offense
Nick-
run a certain way.
Yeah, but he wasn't the number 2 guy. I mean, he wasn't. Kevin Patullo wasn't doing any. Like, they tried to even pull this bull crap of going,
That he was
yeah, Kevin
there
Patullo was there.
everywhere.
He was
Yeah.
helping call plays. And people are like, when? He's not on the headset telling Kellen Moore what to call. That's nonsense.
Right.
That's nonsense. That didn't happen. They're trying to go, well, he had insight. Really? What? Tell me when. Give me the idea.
Yeah, I didn't see
they're
much
fiddling
of it
around.
in any of the mic'd up videos.
They're fiddling around with that. That never happened.
Well,
and the NFL
look,
mics it up.
and all we can do is wait and see how it plays out.
No, and I'm willing,
Unfortunately, that's all we can do. Right?
I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt.
course.
But the thing is that they're telling me, they're selling me big on this guy. I'm just telling you, in the NFL, when you are this bright mind, this offensive game changer, usually you're poached. And you're usually poached. It took Sean McVay 6 years to call plays in the NFL.
Yeah.
It took Mike McDaniel 7. It took eyebrow waxer. It took him
LaFleur.
6 years.
Yeah.
Took him 6 years. Took Shanahan 5, but Daddy had a job.
Yeah.
Like, it took 18 for Kevin Petula.
Yeah, no, I think those concerns
Big
are
difference.
very logical. All right, so later this week or at some point this week, I don't know the exact date. I know the league meetings start, I think, today.
Today,
They start
vote tomorrow.
All right. Oh, the vote's tomorrow. Okay. So not only
They're
will
going
they
to Chili's tonight. They're going to the Chili's next door.
not only will they vote on the Olympics that we've been talking about in the last half hour of the show, but of course the state of the tush push will be voted on. So in the next segment, I have the exact wording that the Green Bay Packers, I want to call them a different P word, the Green Bay Packers have sent into the league office that will be voted upon today. But just to give you guys a quick update, our man Adam Schefter has been, pretty consistent with his messaging to us when he joins us every single Wednesday that he thinks it's en route to being banned. Ian Rappaport, another one of the top reporters in the NFL, said this yesterday with Pat McAfee, quote, his educated guess is that he expects that there will be new language against any player pushing or pulling another. I'm not sure the league wants to specifically ban this play, just the mechanism used on this play. So I have the wording that the Green Bay Packers sent in, the official documented what will be voted on tomorrow at the league meetings. And we'll go through it. Just be prepared to see the end of the tush push because people got coerced somehow. 6 people or 8 people got coerced somehow?
And how? That's the question and that's the question I want to
Yeah.
really try to figure out.
Maybe Roger Goodell will be man enough to tell us.
What did they get paid?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm asking Schefter tomorrow, first question.
Yeah.
What did they get offered? Because they got offered something.
Yeah.
Something moves your vote.
Shefty has been saying this over and over and over again. What Roger Goodell wants, Roger Goodell gets. He's the commissioner.
So what did he get?
How did you sway 8 people?
Exactly.
Because you needed, 24 votes? And there were 16 against it? Interesting. All right, we'll get into that coming up next. We'll check our text line as well. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
We want to hear from you.
So text us at 610. 7:12 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Next segment, 7:25, our man Andrew DeCecco will join us because there's a lot to react to between Nick Sirianni getting his extension, Joe Douglas making his return to the Philadelphia Eagles front office, the possibility, and it looks like reality, that players will be allowed to participate in the 2028 Summer Olympics in flag football. I mean, there's a lot that is all of a sudden happening within the last, 12 hours? A little bit more than that, 16 hours. All of a sudden, there's news left and right. So we'll be able to talk about it with Andrew DeCecco coming up at 7:25. But I have the official document, John.
Yes.
On how the Green Bay Wussies,
The Wussy Boys.
backed by losers Kyle Shanahan,
Well, that goes without saying.
hypocrite Sean McDermott,
Oh, there he is.
Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay,
Oh, my gosh.
all the younger non-football guys.
My gosh.
They're the ones that are trying to get this banned. So here's the official wording, all right? To amend Rule 12, Section 1, Article 4, Johnny. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I was off. I thought it was Section 3 of Article 2.
Blocking use of hands and arms, page 46.
Oh, I had page 44.
New language,
amazing.
underlined, deleted language, struck through. Okay? So this is the official document sent in by the Green Bay Wussies. Article 4, assisting the runner in interlocking interference. No offensive player may, A, pull a runner in any direction at any time.
Okay.
Now pull, not push.
Right.
Use interlocking interference by grasping a teammate or by using his hands or arms to encircle the body of a teammate in an effort to block an opponent. Or,
Well, the tush push doesn't do that, do they?
correct, or to push or throw his body against a teammate to aid him in attempt to obstruct an opponent or to recover a loose ball.
Okay, that's not it.
Finally, immediately at the snap, push or throw his body against a teammate who is lined up directly behind the snapper and receive the snap to aid him in attempt to gain yardage. So what I'm getting out of this is that the wording somehow still allows you to push a player that's trying to get a first down post-snap. It's said in the wording, immediately after the snap. So let's say you're throwing a slant route to a receiver.
You could still push.
You could still push the player.
Then that's still.
but you can't pull the player.
That's far more dangerous, though. That's more dangerous. Someone getting
extra
pushed.
contact,
Someone getting pushed in the pile.
not knowing.
It's much
your
more.
next snaps.
Yeah, that's much more dangerous. So anything about health is ridiculous here. That's wild.
So the effect of this would prohibit an offensive player from pushing a teammate who is lined up directly behind the snapper and receives a snap immediately at the snap. So this is not a in play. You're allowed to still push if this is how it's worded, if this is how it's passed. But you can't do the tush push specifically. And here are the two reasons that they label.
Okay.
One, player safety. So again, this is when I go to Sean McDermott being the hypocrite that he is. Even though this is sent in by the Packers, he's one of the big voices of this, right? Because he ran that play the second most times out of any NFL team and not that far off behind the Eagles. And here's the deal. He is on record saying that if it is not banned, he would still use it. So you are a hypocrite.
I would say coward, but hypocrite's a good word.
Anyways, that was one of the reasons.
That's like the weakest guy to come out of the Northeast.
The other one, and this is just stupid, they're claiming pace of play.
What? The clock. It keeps the clock
It
running.
keeps the clock running.
What are they talking about? Pace of play. It keeps it running.
You know what doesn't keep the clock running is allowing a spike of football.
Yes, which isn't a football play, by the way.
Correct. I know you talked about that. You blew my mind when you said it.
That's not a football play.
That should be intentional grounding. You're right.
Spiking the football should be intentional grounding.
According to the rule book.
Explain it to me.
Like, what's their argument? Like the Frankie Louvu jumping over the line a million times?
That's my thought because that kept the game stopping.
Just
But
because the Commodes don't know how to play football, 55-23.
And oh, by the way, there's a rule that is already in place. The official said if they keep doing this, we can award the team a touchdown.
The Commodes are just hoping they can get awarded a real team name
stop
at a stadium.
Yeah.
something like
If
that.
these teams would just come out and say we don't like it because we can't stop it, I wouldn't be fine with it going away, but I could sleep with that. Them trying to pose as if it's a health scare, a health concern, that's ridiculous.
Because they can't say we just don't like it. I know some of them have been vocal about that. Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur saying it's not a football play.
Which is, again, I would just say, and Sean McVay, I'd love it. Look, I'd like to get his dad on the phone and say, hey, Dad, get Sean on with us. And just ask Sean, could you explain to me why is it not a football play?
Yeah, tell me the physicality that the
Because
offensive
it's not.
lineman.
If you dare say rugby play, it's not a rugby play, and I can tell you that it's not a rugby play. So tell me how it's not a football play because it is legal within the football rule book. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah.
You're just making crap up.
Yeah.
Because your weak-ass California team can't stop it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think they're that weak. I think they're an up-and-coming team.
And by the way, again, this is all over a 1-yard play. Like, don't let it become 3rd and 1. Don't let it become 4th and 1.
Exactly.
Get the stops on 1st and 2nd down. It's just whining.
It is. I love
That's
watching
all
them
it
whine.
is. Like, there is no data to back up the player safety thing. Pace of play, it keeps the clock running. I don't get it. It's whining, man. It's all it is. And Roger Goodell's for it. By the way, if the rule passes, all those things that I mentioned would result in a 10-yard penalty, just so you guys know. All right, coming up next, our man Andrew DeCecco will help react to all of this stuff. With us coming up next, it is Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sirianni is here to stay. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Yesterday, the Eagles announced they agreed to terms on a multi-year contract extension with head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni has had an impressive start to his career, which includes the highest win percentage in franchise history as a coach, being the only coach to reach multiple Super Bowls with the team, and now Super Bowl champion, of course. The exact terms on the deal have yet to be announced, but Sirianni's going to be here for many years to come. One thing that may not be here for many years to come, however, is the tush push. The league is set to vote on the future of the play tomorrow at the NFL spring meetings. Yesterday, the Green Bay Packers revised their proposal to ban the play. The language prohibits an offensive player from pushing, pulling, lifting, and assisting a runner other than blocking an opponent for him. We're going to find out the fate of that play tomorrow when they vote on it. The Phillies had a 4-game series begin last night against the Colorado Rockies with the 9-3 win. They wake up today in first place in the NL East and the best team in the National League as a whole. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, and Edmundo Sosa all came through with 2 RBI, and Kyle Schwarber blasted the 300th home run of his career last night. The Phillies and Rockies are back at it again tonight. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 8:40. This update was brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that is built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA playoffs. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Bill Colarulo.
First of all, it shouldn't just be a happy day for me. This should be a happy day for all Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Talking about the Eagles.
Because what you just did is you extended not only a Super Bowl winning head coach, but the first coach in the Super Bowl era to ever go to 4 straight playoff appearances, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and a Super Bowl win in his first 4 seasons.
Listen to Bill weekdays on the Mike Missanelli Show today.
95 here on this Tuesday morning. Kincade Salciunas reacting to the league that never sleeps. The NFL always finds a way. Like I said earlier to start the show, Johnny, I think the Eagles got upset that we were talking too much Phillies yesterday. They said, you know what?
They upstaged them.
Let's get back into the news here. Let's give Nick Sirianni his extension. Let's rehire Joe Douglas. And then the NFL, of course, voting on the tush push this week, as well as the ability to play in the 2028 Summer Olympics, which I'm curious to get our next guest thoughts on. Joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business, a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next from Inside the Birds. And, of course, all over the place here at 97.5 The Fanatic. We're always thrilled to have him on the show, thrilled to have him a part of the station. That's our man, Andrew DeCecco. What's up, Andrew?
Good morning, gang. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Obviously, a big day today, filled with plenty of news
Lots
to
of
react to, news that's breaking. News that will break tomorrow at some point. So a busy week with the NFL, and of course a lot of it always seems to circle around the Eagles. Let's start with Nick Sirianni getting his contract extension yesterday. Obviously it was all kind of expected, but just talk about Nick Sirianni a little bit, his impact with this team, obviously all the success that he's had, and how deserving he is of this extension.
Well, obviously it was expected, Andrew. When you hear Jeffrey Lurie at the owners' meetings, he pretty much alluded to it. You just didn't know when. But anytime you hear of a deal of that magnitude, obviously it's going to be noteworthy and well-deserved. But I'm not really a stats guy, but, right off the top, a 48-20 record, a 6-3 in the postseason. The winning percentage is third all-time for the Super Bowl era at 706. And, I mean, when you look at his contract, he signed the 5-year, $35 million contract back in 2021. He was going into his final deal, the final year of his deal, and it was time. So, I mean, you have to feel really good for Nick Sirianni. This is a coach that started 2-2 last year. Of course, we know about the 1-6 skid, but you have to give credit to first Jeffrey Lurie for exercising the patience and belief in his head coach. Because remember, that decision was met with a lot of scrutiny. There were some that didn't believe that Nick Sirianni should have been retained. And then Nick Sirianni takes the adversity. He proves to be receptive to his players. And he goes out there and he's able to alter his philosophical approach, and then they go run heavy, and I think that speaks to his emotional intelligence. But it wasn't an easy task. And one thing that I don't particularly care for is you hear a lot of folks that will say that it's a loaded roster, he didn't have to do anything, he was just along for the ride. That's not true at all. He is a coach who continuously evolves. You see the continual growth, the emotional intelligence, which I talked about, the leadership, and finally, guys, the authenticity. When I think of Nick Sirianni, two things come to mind: leadership and authenticity. He never once lost the locker room, and I just think that it was well-deserved, and especially when you see how the last season ended and where they're going to go for the foreseeable future.
When you say, though, about like along for the ride, do you believe the change in offensive philosophy was his doing, or was his offensive lineman's doing?
Well, it was the offensive lineman's doing, John, but and when they go 2-2, it's very easy. Just, you see how much talent's on the roster.
Sure.
It would have been very easy for that season to spiral out of control. You have to have a strong sense of culture established there already. You have to have leadership. You have to be receptive. All those different ingredients go into being a winning organization. And I think never once did you see a lack of belief in Nick Sirianni, especially internally. Obviously, on the outside, there was plenty of skepticism. But I think that he does a lot behind the scenes and really doubling down on his core values and making sure that he's relatable and finds different ways to really learn his personnel and be receptive to feedback.
Our man Andrew DeCecco is with us. The other bit of news yesterday before the extension was that the team was bringing back Joe Douglas to be a part of their front office. I love the move. I always think the more minds, the better, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on Joe Douglas coming back after his time as the GM of the New York Jets.
Yeah, I love that move, Andrew. He spent 4 years with the Eagles, 2016 through the 2019 season, and was instrumental in piecing together that 2017 Super Bowl team. And obviously it didn't work out for him with the New York Jets. 6 years, and he didn't really have the results that they were expecting, was relieved of his duties in November, and sometimes returning to a role, and he has a decorated career in evaluating talent and being the scout. He was 15 years with the Ravens as a scout, spent the 1 year with the Bears, then joined the Eagles. So this is somebody who does have an eye for talent, and sometimes when you're able to take a step back and reevaluate and get back to some of the principles that made you so successful, you don't have that GM hat that you have to wear where there's so much pressure on you you're in an organization that you know you can thrive and your feedback is going to be welcome. I think this is a really good addition, especially when you factor in that they lost three key evaluators this offseason, and Brandon Hunt, who I think is going to be a star. He went to the Raiders. They lost Anthony Patch, and they lost Jordan Dizon. So they had to add, and they added somebody with a wealth of experience. I love that hire.
I'm asking Adam Schefter this question tomorrow morning, so I'm going to run it by you first. You get to try to answer it first. What do you think Roger Goodell offered NFL franchise owners if he gets 8 more votes to ban the tush push? How did they get those 8 more votes in a matter of a month? How did he twist arms?
I think based on he's a persuasive guy, and I think if you are able to alter the language in the rules, you can certainly make a case for it. I think that he found a way to be persuasive in that way, and when you look at the rules like yesterday when it came out, I think that it would seem to suggest that the tush push is on its way out, and I think that you kind of, if he wants something out, John, as you know, Roger Goodell is going to get his way. And
I still haven't, but I still can't hear, though, anyone explain to me how they can articulate to me what is the reasoning.
They don't like the pace. They think it affects the pace of the game and player safety, and they're going to, I don't want to say manipulate the rules. They're going to have the language in a way where it kind of reflects that. And if they're going the pre-2005 rules, where no player can be pushed or pulled or anything like that, then it's going to have...
Well, by the wording of the Packers, it looks like they're still okay with the push in the middle of a play.
Yes.
It's the immediate after the snap, and they're trying to ban pulling altogether. But how many times have you seen an offensive lineman run behind a pile to push a player to get the first down? It looks like, that's just me reading into it, that they're still trying to keep that in the game.
Yeah, I just think that Roger Goodell doesn't find that play to be aesthetically pleasing is really what it comes down to. And it's a shame. And you can kind of dress that up any way you want to make it in your favor. But the bottom line here is, guys, is that every team is afforded this play. The Eagles just executed at a high level, and really what it is the NFL. It's salty behavior by the NFL in that they just can't do it, so they wanted to stop it and outlaw it altogether because the Eagles are so effective at doing it because they have the right personnel. And the one thing that if you ask anybody on the Eagles, they're going to take offense to it because they practice that play at a high level, and it's not something they roll out of bed and they do. It's something that they really put a lot of time and effort in. And I think to kind of just call it not a football play and maybe chalk it up as something that's a blemish on the game, I think is really. I think that's really cheap.
Can you think of any other play that any other team has done that in any other reference of football in your mind has been ever potentially could have been banned like this? Because I was racking my brain about it yesterday, where like one team did something so well that nobody could defend it.
That's a good point. No, I can't really.
Because Tom Brady and the quarterback sneak was amazing for his entire career. I mean, I think the Eagles are going to be amazing on the quarterback sneak. I don't think it's going to be a problem.
No, you're absolutely right. They're still going to be effective at it because they have the personnel. You have an offensive line that is so technically sound. You have a quarterback who squats 600 pounds and uses leverage to his advantage and knows how to get low and drive forward. It doesn't matter if they take this away because the Eagles are still going to find a way to be effective in short yardage situations.
All right, lastly, Andrew, John and I both shocked this morning that Adam Schefter reporting it seems like it's heading in the direction where the NFL will vote to allow players to participate in the 2028 Summer Olympics to play in flag football. Man, you know how careful they are with players. Are you shocked that they will allow this? It seems like it's going to be voted on tomorrow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, Andrew. I think you and I were having this conversation just a few weeks ago. And I think we were both in the camp that they shouldn't be allowed to do it.
Right.
I mean, it's flag football, and you leave yourself susceptible to injury. Your primary focus and dedication should be to the team that you play for. And I understand the allure of wanting to play in the Olympics and all of that and have that on your resume, but it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I'm actually floored that the NFL would move forward with that, knowing that you subject yourself to all different types of injuries for it. And those non-contact injuries are the ones you have to be mindful of. It's the knees, it's the ankles, it's the hamstrings, and all of that. So, yeah, that is very shocking to me.
And even if a guy just misses a week of camp, we're going to be like, really? All for All for this? For flag football?
And you saw how much, I mean, this was maybe 3 weeks to camp, but Cooper DeJean wasn't inserted until week 6 when he finally got caught up to speed and everything. So missing a week or two of camp is huge, especially for younger players.
Yeah, unbelievable. Listen, man, we appreciate the time as always. Keep up the great work. Always love having you on, and we'll be bugging you again soon down the road, we promise.
Sounds good. Have a
Take
good day,
care,
guys.
buddy.
There he is, Andrew Tacheko on the Comcast Business Hotline. All right, so coming up next, I want to expand on something that we sort of talked about earlier in the show. And I'll reread that tweet that I saw about not knowing if Nick Sirianni's a good coach or not. When it comes to Sirianni not calling plays, does that matter to you at all when it comes to your respect level for Sirianni as the head coach? We'll discuss that coming up next. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Tuesday morning here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Eagles have signed Super Bowl winning head coach Nick Sirianni.
son who made my son laugh during the commercial break because I was FaceTiming him, and Gunner almost drilled me with a golf ball. So I said, all right, I got to get him back. So I scared Gunner. But I showed Coop the moment it happened, and Coop lost it. He loved it.
That's hilarious.
And then Brennan was coming back up with Haley, and I was able to scare Haley.
You and your office hijinks, you guys.
Boy, they get so scared.
You and your office hijinks.
I don't know
Jump scares.
What are they?
I'm the mature one on the show.
Why
It's
jump
unbelievable.
scares though? I don't understand what do you think? Michael Myers is
It's
hiding out in the
7:40
office?
in the morning. I'm not expecting somebody to go behind the corner every time I leave.
I'm always shocked that Haley's scared of the barking dog.
Yeah, I think you guys just need to sit in your seats during the
Unbelievable.
entire commercial break.
You sit there and be good boys.
Sit there and behave. All right. So earlier in the show, I read you that tweet from that YouTube guy.
That YouTube guy.
That YouTube guy that basically still does not know if Nick Sirianni is a good coach or not.
Oh, stop.
He said, I've seen Nick Sirianni go to the Super Bowl twice in 3 years, and I still don't know if he's a good coach.
Stop.
And it goes back to the not calling plays thing. So I'm curious. Let's talk this out as a show, and then we'll check our text line on all of our topics. We got a lot going on today, and you can text in at 610-632-0975. Obviously, we know a lot more than somebody from the outside when it comes to Nick Sirianni. But forget Sirianni for a second. How much respect do you give a coach that does not call the plays on offense or on defense? Obviously, if you're a head coach, you deserve respect.
Not as much.
And I think that's why people have this confused outlook on Nick Sirianni at times. Because there is the, what do you do around here? Now, again, that is such a naive thing to say. It's not like Nick Sirianni walks into the office and drinks his coffee all day and says, oh, time to go home. Like, no, he
has to shoot hoops on the Villanova backboard.
He's doing a million things.
Got to pick out his Sixers pull-up.
Well, listen, if you got a
building.
Villanova backboard, you don't need it. It's just straight swish.
Got it on there.
There's a lot of team building that he does for this team, and he's built a culture that we've seen now get to a Super Bowl twice and win one.
Okay.
But he doesn't call plays. And so I think there are people, even here in Philadelphia, and I'm one of them, like, if Patullo doesn't work out, I'm concerned because Sirianni has shown that he already would not be willing to say, all right, I'll put the play calling back into my hands. And even when he did do the play calling when he first got here, he wasn't good at it.
He said he was bad at it. That's his quote about his own evaluation of his performance.
Right.
I mean, he quit after 7 games. That's how bad it was.
And so, he's almost, I don't want to say he's as good as his coordinators are, but we have now seen
I think that's fair.
with Brian Johnson that it wasn't as good with a bad offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And we'll find out. Patullo could be great, and then all this could be for naught. Or it could still be true that the next bad offensive coordinator that comes into town, it's not as good of a season. Because we've now seen Sirianni, I don't want to say run away from the moment, but he had every opportunity to try to say, all right, I'll try to right the ship a couple of years ago, and he didn't.
No, he ran away from the moment. He did. I mean, that's fair. He ran away from the moment. He wasn't able to do it. He wasn't able to pull the plane out of the nosedive. He didn't have any plan for it. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully he's able to do it. Kevin Patullo's his guy. So in other words, his fingerprints are all over the success or the failure of the Eagles offense moving forward, because this is the guy he wanted. Whether I don't think Kevin Patullo would have been the choice if every offensive mind in the NFL had had the opportunity to try to get this job. But that doesn't mean that Kevin Patullo won't do a good job.
Right. We have
Could
no
happen.
idea. We have
Could
no
happen.
idea.
We'll wait and see.
All right, what do we got on the text line, Gunner? You can text the show at 610-632-0975.
We got Troy in Lancaster checking in saying it's crazy how the Super Bowl saved his job when we all used to, not right English, but we all used to want him fired.
No, we all didn't. All didn't.
I'm uncomfortable with him coaching, but as long as Howie Roseman keeps cooking and we have a lineup that we do, we're still going to be good under
by the way,
Sirianni.
the Super Bowl didn't save his
No,
job. Like,
no.
them having another
Winning the division,
second half of that season.
and going to the NFC title game,
Yeah.
he wasn't getting fired.
Yeah.
But here's one thing I would say, though, is the people who wanted Nick Sirianni fired, many of them are now pushing that narrative. Stop pushing it. Not everybody was you.
Right.
Not everybody was pulling the fire alarm and saying this guy had to be fired. They're pushing that narrative on ESPN. I call it out. Not everybody was you. Sometimes we get things right. Sometimes we get things wrong. You got that one wrong, and just own it.
It's one of the few times I've been wrong on this show.
It's okay.
What else we got on the text line, Gunner?
We got Bruce checking in saying, listen, guys, you have my receipts. I did not like Nick, and I was over him. However, Nick deserves his flowers now. He got my support going forward. Congrats on the extension. Go Birds.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
And look, here's the one thing I worry about. And I worry about it with Jalen, too. Dead serious. The waves, the ebbs and flows of the city's perception on those two people, the head coach and the quarterback.
But the thing is, though, it's people look at it and people look at it as like it's a referendum on Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. It's not. It's been a referendum on the quarterback and the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles since I was a child.
Correct. Yeah.
Whoever is in that office and quarterbacking this team has always faced that scrutiny and that level of critique. It's not a Hurts Sirianni thing.
No.
It's the job.
Speaking of Hurts and Sirianni, though, Hurts last year is the first time at the line of scrimmage he had some control. Does that play a part? And maybe Patullo gets off to a better start than Brian Johnson did because, Sirianni behind him, and now he has a Jalen Hurts at the line who has experience doing stuff
interesting.
there.
Maybe. I mean, Hurts could play a huge role in how the offense is run, not just obviously being the quarterback,
That's a
but
really
how
good.
it's run.
That's a really good observation. Think of that.
And by the way, speaking of the Hurts and Sirianni thing, again, in case anybody's trying to rewrite history and saying I can't believe people wanted him fired, the Hurts and Sirianni beef, legitimate beef,
It was legit.
that had to be fixed during training camp, like that was real.
And then the fake, let's ride the golf cart together.
with Big Dom together.
Yeah, I mean, like, seriously.
And I remember I think it was our man T Love that was like upset. That was like, you guys tried making me hate the two of them. It was like, no, we never tried anything. It was legitimate beef. And
they were doing it.
And then you know what else became legitimate beef? Hurts and A.J. Brown, according to Brandon Graham. And this is where I then go back to the culture from Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni was able to get in front of that and handle it. Now, if it didn't go public, I don't know if it would have been fixed. I don't know if anybody would have even thought that there was a beef.
And I think that and I will still insist to you that the whole Hurts A.J. Brown stuff that existed all goes back to the Seattle game and all goes back to when the 2023, when they went rogue in that game and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts both stayed mum.
Yeah.
And like Gunnar pointed out earlier, the Nick Sirianni took the blame for the two of them. And then finally, A.J. Brown got tired of Nick Sirianni taking all the heat for it, went public and said, our coach took the blame for us.
Yeah.
This is what really happened. And Jalen was pissed about it. Jalen didn't like him coming out because the coach had taken the heat for it, and he didn't like it.
Right.
And to me, A.J. Brown gives me that's all the character in the world I need to hear, is that a guy goes, no, I'm not letting him look like a buffoon here. I'm gonna stand up and say, we did it. We take the responsibility.
Good thing everything got fixed.
It did. It all got fixed.
And they won a Super Bowl. That's
Yes,
pretty nice.
they did.
All right, coming up next, we'll reset today's topics. We'll check our text line. I'm curious to hear, do we have texts on the Olympics thing?
We do.
All right, I want to get a couple of those coming up next. The NFL will vote tomorrow, and Adam Schefter's reporting that it looks like they will allow players to play in the Summer Olympics in 2028. Also, we have today's headlines with Brendan Gunn coming up, and Johnny has more reasons for you to feel confident in the Eagles after Nerd Boy continue to analyze the schedule that dropped last week.
I wanted to make sure because Mike described it as show-on-show crime when I was critiquing, the fact that they were acting like Commanders pregame the other day. So I wanted to make sure that I had crossed my T's and dotted my I's, so I didn't want to look like a homer.
It is Kincade Salciunas on this Tuesday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Sports Update.
Sirianni gets an extension. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Yesterday, the Eagles announced they agreed to terms on a multi-year contract extension with head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni has had an impressive start to his career, which includes the highest win percentage in franchise history as a coach, being the only coach to reach multiple Super Bowls with the team, and now Super Bowl champion, of course. The exact terms on the deal have yet to be announced, but Sirianni's going to be here for many more years to come. One thing that may not be here for many more years to come, however, is the tush push. The league is set to vote on the future of that play tomorrow tomorrow at the NFL spring meetings. Yesterday, the Green Bay Packers revised their proposal to ban the play. The language prohibits any offensive player from pushing, pulling, lifting, and assisting a runner other than blocking opponents for him. We're going to find out the fate of that play tomorrow. The Phillies began a 4-game series against the Colorado Rockies last night with a 9-3 win, and they wake up today in first place in the National League East and the best team in the National League as a whole. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, and Edmundo Sosa all came through with 2 RBI, and Kyle Schwarber blasted the 300th home run of his career last night. The Phils and Rockies are back at it again tonight. Jesus Luzardo on the mound for the Phils. First pitch is tonight at 8:40. This update was brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA playoffs. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Vitalico.
incredibly bright out.
Yeah, today's going to be a beautiful day sun-wise. It's not, like, warm out, but
What's it going to be?
I think it's mid-60s today.
Okay, that's beautiful.
No, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I'm loving it, man.
It was gorgeous yesterday out at DuPont Country Club.
Dude.
Oh, my gosh.
Yesterday was yard work day because all the rain, I had to keep pushing it. And then we were
Right.
busy this weekend. So I did all the yard work.
How'd it
Finally-
look?
Oh, it looks spectacular. More your indoor, outdoor, man. And then my mowing ability.
Oh, yeah. Your mowing ability takes
yeah,
it to a
man.
whole new level.
And then, but Coop wanted to play outside, dude. I think I sat out back, and he played by himself for 2 hours, dude. It was freaking magical.
Now, when you say played by himself, what did he do?
So I have there was an area where there was a bush, and the bush was dying, so I took it out. And we were going to plant something, or we were going to mulch it, and he brought all his construction trucks, and it's just dirt.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's like a fake sandbox.
Everybody should have that.
And, dude, I was like, you know what, man? That's your space. I'm not going to do anything to it.
That's awesome.
I'm not going to put mulch. I'm not going to plant. Like, have at it, brother. And so for 2 hours, he was just doing a construction site.
Oh, that's great.
And I just sat there listening to music, man. It was freaking awesome.
I loved that as a kid. My trucks outside and stuff. Oh, yeah.
Get dirty, kid. Go ahead.
Mr. Lipton used to have his garden up at the corner, like over the fence from us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Lipton would talk over the fence. I'd be having my little trucks.
I just let him get dirty, dude. I'll give you a bath afterwards.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
That's a good parent.
Hell yeah, man. All right, so Nick Sirianni got his extension yesterday. We are reacting to that.
Good for Nick, too.
Also, Joe Douglas back. We're reacting to that. And the league will be voting tomorrow, not just for the tush push. We'll also get into the division standings later on this hour, or in the 8 o'clock hour. But also, we found out today,
Yes.
per Adam Schefter, that it looks like it is trending in the direction where the league will allow players to participate in the 2028 Summer Olympics in flag football. In a league that is so careful with everyone, I am stunned.
It's got to be a TV.
Stunned.
It's got to be a TV partner.
It has to be, but I'm amazed that. Think about how important training camp is. I know that we call it Club Med these days, right? Like, it's not the way that it used to be, but instead of the physical training camp, it's now film room and study and tape and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to bleed into training camp.
No.
I think.
Does it?
We'll find out. I don't have believe it or not, I don't have the 2028 Summer Olympics schedule on me just yet.
I don't either. We can look at it. I'm sure they have it out.
They probably do.
I'm sure they do.
But I'm surprised that they're going to go through with this. And, we'll see if any Eagles players participate in it. We know that Jalen Hurts wants to. As you said, he was the face of the damn commercial when it first came out that the Olympics were coming to L.A.
I know Gavin Newsom says he wants all the homeless camps gone by the Olympics.
I'm sure they will do that. What do we got on the text line about that? I'm curious what the people are saying, Gunner.
Stan and Yardley checking in saying the Olympics have become such a joke. Breakdancing and flag football now are Olympic sports.
Seriously.
Come on.
I'd
Next.
rather flag football than breakdancing.
I can't see real NFL stars doing this. I think maybe more fringe players on rosters. Who knows? Still a joke regardless.
Tyreek Hill, because he's got citizenship somewhere else, too.
It's not revoked.
Joel Embiid is asked, is Pakistan, if he could play for their flag football team, if the U.S. doesn't want him.
Ironically, I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron James tried to ask. Like, retired from the NBA and tried to play a flag football.
Dude, I could
But
totally
only
see
if
that.
they take Bronny. Only if Bronny gets to be on the team, too. He has to have Bronny there. So that's part of it, too. And Bronny is willing to revoke his citizenship.
No, he's going to Australia, remember? That's who he's going to play
he could
for.
go play
Here you
for
go.
Australia.
Tyreek Hill is trying to become a citizen of Japan.
What?
He wants to have dual citizenship, and he expressed that he would like to play for Team Japan if he gets his citizenship in time.
Really?
And so, that's a legit player. That's not obviously Tyreek Hill's got a lot of stuff going on, but that is a legitimate name that people know. It's not going to be Mac Hollins, right?
Mac Hollins.
If they want to do this right, which it seems like they will try to, they're going to allow the legit players to play.
Why, though?
Could you imagine Lamar Jackson on the flag football
What's
field?
the motivation? For the NFL.
Get
What's
the gold
the
medal for your country. Oh, for the NFL.
Wait a minute. Americans
to grow the game more,
Americans flag football doesn't grow the NFL.
But if you have the names, if it's Lamar Jackson playing for Team
that's
USA,
always been the knock.
and there's some guy that's watching his Uzbekistan flag football team get trounced by Team USA, they go, oh, let me try to watch what league they actually
Like
play
when the
in.
NBA was making that quote-unquote creep up on the NFL in popularity, the NFL knock was they don't have a global brand. Like Tom Brady, people don't know outside the United States for the most part.
Right.
Mahomes, there's no LeBron, there's no Kobe, there's none of that.
Does anyone ever realize, though, the fact that, and I will always insist it, and I think people will not figure it out, the more global the brand of the NBA has gotten, the less popularity it's become now in the United States?
Yeah, but here's the deal. The NFL will never lose popularity. So imagine if they can just find a network of funds internationally, too.
But the thing is, it's just for the NFL. International money and international popularity is just icing on the cake.
Yes.
The NBA has catered to the international too much.
Yeah, remember, Wendy was reporting that they might make a European NBA league.
Like, they don't care. The
associated with the NBA.
America, to its detriment or not, doesn't care about Europe. Doesn't care about what Europeans like.
You should.
They don't. Don't give a damn. They care about what Americans like.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Oh, man.
They like what they like and have their
crepes suck. I'm a pancake guy.
There it is. Yeah, I don't want crepes.
It's just really thin pancakes, man. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Busy Brewster Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Anyone get that Ricky Bobby reference?
Yes.
All right, good. I'm just making sure.
Didn't like that movie that much.
That's all right, dude. If you ain't
it's a classic. No, it's not a classic.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
No, not
but
a classic.
You can say so many lines from that movie.
But it's not a classic.
I'm all hyped up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah, the spider monkey. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yes, but it's,
With all due respect, and that he's completely disrespectful.
Yes.
Like, that movie actually has
You're not
lines.
first or last.
Yeah,
right, yes.
I was high when I said that, Bobby. Come on, man. There's so many good lines from that movie. Whether you like it or not. All right. Give more reasons to be confident in the Eagles, Johnny.
Okay, this is one, and I'm hoping that anyone who's out there that, well, let's say you were somebody out there who was trying to convince people that the Eagles would potentially not win the division, or that the Commanders were as good a team as the Eagles. Well, Las Vegas actually said when the schedule came out, the day the schedule came out, the Commanders' chances to win the Super Bowl went down. The Eagles' chances to win the Super Bowl went up. So take that what they will. Mm-hmm. The Eagles' win total is projected at 11.5. The Commanders' win total is projected at 9.5. Why would you think that is? It's not hard to do, folks. It's called a little research. Very simple. One team has pedigree, one team doesn't. Last year, with a first-place schedule, a harder schedule, a better schedule, the Eagles were 5-2 versus playoff teams in the regular season. The Commanders were 1-4 versus playoff teams. Do you remember the one playoff team they beat in the regular season?
No.
The Eagles. They beat Jalen Hurts. Oh, no, they didn't. Jalen Hurts was up 14-0 in the game.
That's right.
Got knocked out, up 14-0 in the game.
By Frankie Louvu, who was whining.
By the way, driving again, up 14-0, got injured, and then he lost that game. That's the only game that the Commanders won in the regular season versus a playoff team, or they would have been 0-5. So the Eagles were 5-2 versus playoff teams. The Commanders were 1-4. So that is one of the things when you're looking at about pedigree, about why they think these teams. This year, the Commanders don't play that terrible schedule. They play a legit schedule. There's a reason the Commanders in Vegas are a 9.5 over-under, because last year, whenever they were asked to win a game under pressure, they were winning games under a wild stat. They won the most games in the NFL in the last minute.
You remember the Hail Mary
against Washington?
The Bears? No,
that was against Bears. Wild game. They won that one. Remember the Cowboy game?
Yeah, that
was
the
same thing.
There's like 3 kick returns.
They did the same thing.
5 seconds.
They did the same thing in the Cowboy game.
That was actually an awesome.
By the way, what happened in the Hail Mary against to beat the Bears, and then the play against the Cowboys. No team in the NFC had 2 victories like that in the same regular season in over 40 years.
It's awesome.
So
sports is great.
What happened is the Commanders didn't beat legitimate teams. They were 1-4 against playoff teams, with the only win coming against a Jalen Hurts-less Eagles team. And then they won miracle games. They won the most games in the last minute of play. And so to me, that's exactly why Vegas is telling you what they're telling you. The Commanders are 9.5. The Eagles are 11.5. The Eagles have pedigree of being a champion. The Commanders have proven you nothing yet. Do I think the Commanders are a playoff team next year? I do. They're not the Eagles. I would say if anyone's telling you they're the Eagles, well, Google could be their friend too. That'd be just my thought. It's my thought.
Good job, Johnny.
Google works.
John Kincade feels very comfortable.
Yeah, very comfortable. As does Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Which builds billion-dollar casinos for a reason.
And as you said, when the schedule came out, Week 18 won't matter.
Week 18 won't matter. And
By the way, you had a little nugget on
I'll
there
give you a
about
little
Week
nugget.
17 too.
how about this one for you? This
Just
is
a
going to make
little
you feel
nugget.
better. Yeah. I've already stated Week 18 versus the Commanders I don't think is going to mean anything for the Eagles at all. But how about Week 17? The top seed in the AFC has already been determined with 2 weeks left in the regular season, 4 of the last 8 regular seasons.
All right.
So that means recent history indicates there's a 50-50 shot that the Bills game, by the time that comes, they could already have the top seed locked up. They could be resting players, not playing full out by the time they play the Eagles. 4 of the last 8 years, the team that wins the AFC has already had a clinch with 2 games to go. By the way, the Bills play the easiest schedule in the AFC. So there's a chance that Bills game ends up meaning nothing to the Bills.
For Buffalo, right.
And the Eagles could still be playing for something. So I know there are a lot of chicken littles out there. You know, you can choose to listen to them, or you can say, I have confidence that the Super Bowl champs are pretty good.
Well, don't worry. We don't have Chicken Little next. We have the Muffin Man. Brendan Gunn.
Do you know him?
Yeah, you know the Muffin Man.
Brendan Gunn.
He lives on
Drury Lane.
Drury Lane, man.
Yeah, that's a weird name.
Or is it Mulberry?
Drury Lane.
Drury Lane.
What's Mulberry Lane?
Nobody.
Maybe that's just a street from when I grew up.
Mulberry. Where was
that a
Andy?
street in
Where was
Havertown?
Andy Griffith from? Where was Andy Griffith?
Andy Griffith?
Or is it Griffin? Yeah, Andy Griffith. The Andy Griffith Show. Where was he from?
I don't know.
Do you not remember the Andy Griffith Show?
I know the show. I know the
feel like
whistling.
that's one of your.
I know the whistling.
I feel like that would have
That's
been.
a freaking black and white show. What
I
are you
know.
talking about?
My dad used to
My
watch
shows
it.
were in color.
I used to watch with my
Wait a
dad,
minute, dude.
man.
My shows were at least in color. My God. Andy Griffith show?
Old man. I don't know. I'll try to find it out.
Oh, Grandpa.
Mayberry.
Mayberry.
It was
Okay,
in
I know Mayberry. I know
so
the
not
name
Mulberry.
Mayberry.
Okay, Andy Griffith knowledge here on the Kincade Salciunas show. I'm sure people love that. All right, today's Headlines with Gunner comes your way next year.
Today's talk show.
Mike Missanelli.
Players are going to try to circumvent everything. This is a day and age where if you take those performances.
This 97.5, The Fanatic. John and I were just talking about the Jersey Shore during the commercial break. Oh, that was one of my favorite restaurants. Unfortunately closed down, I think. Now, you know what? Now that I see it, says that it opens at 12. So
Wait a minute.
Maybe somebody bought it.
No, it closed.
What?
Yesterday's. It's right
Yesterday's
outside
is
Ocean
open.
City.
No, but it closed.
It closed,
did
and then
close.
Tim Fox, who owns the Deauville, bought yesterday.
Oh, that's awesome because I love that. My parents and I and my sister used to go there all the time. Like probably we would stay down the shore for a week, sometimes 2 weeks. It was a multiple stop
Wait a minute, I didn't know this.
restaurant.
It's very nice in there
the
now.
Deauville
Yeah.
owns that place too?
Yeah, he just bought it. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Maybe
know
a
that.
summer or two ago. I only know it because my girlfriend's brother works at the
That's good to
Deauville.
know.
Really?
All right, so maybe I'll
Yeah.
make a trip to Yesterday's at some point.
I didn't know that.
Speaking
Yeah,
of the
it's awesome.
Jersey Shore, how about the deal of the week? 975thefanatic.com/deals. We were talking about this before the show. It's an incredible deal. Get a same-day ride and water park combo ticket to Maury's Piers for just $70, which is a savings of $50 per ticket for unlimited rides on 3 piers and both water parks for an entire day. Make this summer unforgettable at Maury's Piers. Again, 975thefanatic.com/deals. Even if you just have one kid, hell, for yourself, that's a great deal. So check it out, 975thefanatic.com/deals. Water park combo ticket with Maury's Piers for just $70, $50 savings.
It is the best deal. Absolutely do it. If you're ever going down the shore and you got the kids.
I mean, you know how
down.
expensive it gets down there,
It
right?
is fantastic. Even Liv at high school age and college age has done that, and her friends, they've had a blast with that.
Yeah.
And all the rides,
There's
to
so
have
many.
to have the rides wristband,
Yeah.
it's a great deal.
Whether you're doing the day trip or if you're down for a week and you want to do something different for a day instead of sitting on the beach all day, you do this. It's a great deal. All right, time now for today's headlines with Brendan Gunn.
Today's headlines with the one and only Brendan Gunn.
Brought to us by who?
The one and only Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. And I guess the Sixers are kind of happy about yesterday. You had the Jose Alvarado thing steal the headline from them. You had, obviously, the Nick Sirianni extension steal the headline from them because there was 2 different conflicting reports surrounding the Sixers yesterday and what they may or may not do with the 3rd overall pick. At first, Draft Express came out yesterday and said there's an expectation among NBA teams that the Sixers could actively include a trade package surrounding Paul George and the 3rd overall pick for names including Kevin Durant and Lauri Markkanen. And then an hour or 2 later, there was reports saying that is inexplicably not true from Philly Voice and some others.
Yeah, my guess is the local Sixers people, because I have an understanding that the president of basketball operations is responsive. People may have asked. And if you listened to the show last week, now I know James Harden once put a sign in neon saying Daryl Morey is a liar.
Yep.
But Daryl Morey said to Amy and I just last week that they plan on using that pick. Now, you can word things any way you want. You could say, yeah, we're planning on it.
Yeah,
And then plans change.
I don't believe Daryl Morey.
You think he is going to shop it?
I believe here's the reason, though. I'm not saying he's a liar. I'm saying that Daryl Morey would be derelict in his duties if he didn't.
Right. You always have to field the calls.
Like, I think he should do it.
and
I
oh,
think
by
he
the way,
should
you
shop
can
it.
unless he still believes in Paul George, that's his prerogative, right? He can have that belief. If you do not believe in Paul George, why wouldn't you start fielding calls about moving on from his contract? We had the conversation, was it yesterday? The Kevin Durant thing? Or was that last week?
I think it's Friday.
The
It was
days,
Friday.
the
I
days
think it was
blend together.
Friday.
There was an article that came out last week where somebody suggested that the Sixers could trade the 3rd overall pick and Paul George for Kevin Durant, not just because you're getting Kevin Durant, right? I saw a lot of people on social media going, why would you get older?
No,
Why would you
because
get older?
you're
getting
getting
off
free.
of Paul George's contract.
And you get a contract in Kevin Durant's that is still potentially movable, that once you get it, it's still potentially movable. And interest. There's no interest in Paul George. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so if you could move off, again, this is Daryl Morey. If Daryl Morey has lost faith in Paul George, which probably shouldn't have had it to begin with.
I don't understand
But
it.
if Daryl Morey has lost faith in Paul George, that's 4 more years left that you could move off of by trading away that 3rd overall
See, that's
pick.
what you got to do. You got to move on. You got to anything that gets you out of the Paul George contract faster should be play one.
Unless
in
he
the playbook.
unless he still believes in him, and then he's going to
Stop.
pick, and then he'll pick a younger player, which you're not against the younger player.
No, I'm not against the idea of the younger player, but I don't know. I'm not a basketball talent evaluator, but two guys from Rutgers.
What else we got, Gunner?
Yeah, I mean, we're no strangers to crashing the streets here in Philadelphia when we win. We kind of usually wait until we at least go to the Super Bowl, go to the finals, all sorts of things. We don't do it after a second round exit. But the New York Knicks fans, they crashed the street on Friday night after winning the Eastern Conference semifinals. Here's a little golf clap to them. But there was some guy in New York City who, I don't know if he had the brains about him. He was wearing a Tyrese Halliburton jersey.
Yes.
Walking up and down the street. Now, whether he had the brains about him or not, you should never do what the New York Knicks fans did to him. They threw trash at him, picked up trash cans,
4
threw
bags
it at him.
of trash on him.
It's disgusting. The guy turned out to be a firefighter, volunteer firefighter. And
I will
Tyrese
say
Halliburton,
there was another video that surfaced where he was egging people on.
I still don't think trash.
Yeah, he was being tormented and then going, hey. Like, come on. He's putting his hands up in the air.
No, there was a video that from a different earlier before the trash bags where he was egging on the fans. Like, he knew the Knicks fans would be flooding the streets after winning. He then went out.
He wore the jersey for whatever reason. Tyrese Halliburton
You
did
mean because he's allowed to? Because he's a fan?
What the Knicks fans did was
terrible.
Inexcusable.
It's disgusting. Tyrese Halliburton is bringing him out to Game 4.
I love
Obviously,
that.
he's not taking him to Madison Square Garden because I'm sure that would not go well. But shout out to Tyrese Halliburton for doing right on that accord.
I think that's a great move.
I think it's cool that he's doing that.
I saw the clip of the interview with him on with yesterday.
Yeah, Haley's favorite guy.
Oh, yes.
Pat Smacked Ass McAfee.
Whatever happened to the Sons and 4 guy? You remember that dude?
Knocked out cold? Or he knock out the guy?
He
cold?
knocked out a guy and then proceeded to say Sons and 4.
That was so funny.
But then, I think dirt came up on the guy because people found out who he was.
That's probably what's going to happen with this guy. They're going to find out he was a bully in second grade.
My
Going
gosh.
to ruin the guy's life.
But I'm pretty sure something happened with the guy, and then all of a sudden,
this guy's a decorated firefighter too.
Well, we appreciate the service.
Had some nice saves to his record. So
We
I wouldn't go in.
appreciate it.
I wouldn't go into a burning building. I don't have balls like that. Just being honest.
You might not have him coming out either.
You never know.
Point, Gunner.
Good job, Gunner.
All right, coming up next, our man Jeff McClain was busy yesterday breaking the Joe Douglas news. Obviously, a lot to react to with Nick Sirianni. He joins us every single Tuesday at this time. He comes your way next here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sirianni is here to stay. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Yesterday, the Eagles announced they agreed to terms on a multi-year contract extension with head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni has had an impressive start to his career, which includes the highest win percentage in franchise history as a coach, being the only coach to reach multiple Super Bowls with the team, and now, of course, Super Bowl champion. The exact terms on the deal have yet to be announced, but Sirianni's going to be here for many more years to come. One thing that may not be here for many more years to come, however, is the tush push. The league is set to vote on the future of the play tomorrow at the NFL spring meetings. Yesterday, the Green Bay Packers revised their proposal to ban the play. The language prohibits an offensive player from pushing, pulling, lifting, and assisting a runner other than blocking opponents for him. We'll find out the fate of that play tomorrow. The Phillies began a 4-game series against the Colorado Rockies last night with a 9-3 win, and they wake up today in first place in the NL East and the best team in the National League as a whole. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, and Edmundo Sosa all came through with 2 RBI, and Kyle Schwarber blasted the 300th home run of his career. The Phils and Rockies are back at it again tonight. Jesus Luzardo on the mound. First pitch at 8:40. This update was brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA playoffs. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hall of Fame baseball insider Jason Stone.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll be joined momentarily by our man Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer, Inquirer.com. You got to experience the new look of Inquirer Sports where fans can read, watch, and listen to their favorite reporters and columnists. And he had a busy day yesterday. Just, another day in May, John. The Eagles extend Nick Sirianni. The Eagles bring back Joe Douglas. We're awaiting the result of the tush-push vote. We'll find out about the players that could participate in the Olympics in a couple of years. Just another day in May. In the league that never sleeps, the NFL, man. And it always seems to circle around the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why we are now joined by our man from the Inquirer on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. Our man Jeff McClain joins us. Jeff, good morning, brother.
Hey, guys. How are you?
We're good. I'm sure you were very busy yesterday. There's a lot to get into, so let's get right to it. Nick Sirianni gets the contract extension. We were all kind of waiting for it to happen because he only had the final year of his deal left. Let's just talk a little bit about the success of Nick Sirianni and your reaction to him getting the extension.
Yeah, I mean, not really a surprise at all. They weren't going to let him go into the last year of his deal without an extension. They don't want to have a lame duck coach, especially one that just won a Super Bowl. And, Jeffrey Lurie intimated as much that something was going to be announced soon. So, it was just a matter of when and how long and how much. We don't know the latter two parts of that. They said multi-year extension. My guess is 3-4 years, something like that. Trying to dig up a little more on that. And then I guess the other question is how much. It's got to be as much as any other coach. The top guys are getting paid, so you're thinking double digits per year in the millions, 10 to 12 possibly. So well compensated and rightfully so. Nick has been to the playoffs in all 4 years that he's been the coach. He's been to the Super Bowl in 2 of the last 3 and won the last one. That just last October, after they started 2-2 and coming off what happened at the end of the 2023 season, there was some question about his future, but I think Nick showed his value, his strengths with how the Eagles played from that point onward, and the rest is history.
Steve Weish sat down with us at the Super Bowl and talked to us about just his perception that he gets from other coaches that they think about Nick Sirianni. What do you believe is Nick Sirianni's perception among his peers in the NFL?
I think he's highly respected. I don't, I don't think he should care about that, or anybody should really care about
not that he cares, but do you think he's well liked? Do you think he's one of the boys?
Well, I mean, I think he's rubbed some guys the wrong way on occasion. Just the way he kind of has acted on the sidelines at certain points. And there's been times when guys have been the other head coaches have been, on the receiving end of Nick's explosions, his temper. So I don't know how that goes over sometimes in the histrionics and that kind of stuff. But Nick is kind of got two sides to him. So when he is not in compete mode, he definitely is. It almost does a 180, and I think that's probably where the coaches see more of that side of him. So I think in terms of personal relationships and that kind of stuff, I think he's respected in terms of what he's done. I mean, again, it's just hard to argue with the record.
Credit to you, Jeff. You broke the news about Joe Douglas returning to the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. What went into it? What was the reason? I know he was on the sideline for one of the playoff games, so clearly this has probably been in the works for a while, but you're reporting on the return of Joe Douglas.
Yeah. Look, he came during, I guess, a late season game. I mean, I don't think that really they were working on anything at that point. In fact, Joe was, he's still technically under contract. He was at that time. Not that he couldn't come as a guest and be there. But, I kind of picked up something earlier in the offseason, possibly that Joe, I don't even know if this is true or not, that Joe was doing some pre-draft work I knew he was doing it for some team. I'm not entirely sure if it was for the Eagles or not. Just, scouting players, helping out with the college draft process. But then, then I picked up more intel on the fact that, Joe is back and back in the building, and they had some losses this offseason already. Brandon Hunt got what I guess could be deemed a promotion to go to the Raiders, although he was kind of passed over the last time they changed the titles. So I think they like Brandon, but I think they viewed Brandon probably not as a fit here. And I think Brandon probably saw, the writing on the wall in terms of his possibilities to become a GM. It was kind of, certainly not here, but just in terms of the path that you want to take to become a GM. I think he probably didn't need to take another step here, and that was probably not possible. There's a couple guys ahead of him in several respects. And then Anthony Patch, longtime Eagles director of college scouting. I mean, that to me was the bigger, more surprising loss because Anthony's been here for a long time. He's one of Howie Roseman's most trusted aides. So you lost two key guys, and you lost also a national scout as well. So that played a part in it as well. They have one former GM on staff, and Dave Caldwell. He's a senior scouting director. I don't know, whatever, advisor to the GM. He's got like 7 titles. But Joe, kind of, to me, I think, I don't know exactly what the title is going to be. It's a senior scouting role. I think it's going to be kind of like what Tom Donahoe was here. If you guys recall, Tom Donahoe was a long time GM for the GM and title for the Steelers and for the Bills, and had been there a long time, and had his voice carried weight here with Howie. Maybe until the end, we are kind of all know what happened, at least publicly. Privately, I think Tom was increasing on the outs in terms of how they were viewing how they wanted to do things inside the building. But I think it's good to have someone with a lot of experience. Joe fits in very well with the group that they have there. Some of them are leftovers from when he was here. Some, he knows obviously from around the horn, and obviously the key relationship was between him and Howie, and those guys are kind of like Mutt and Jeff, to some extent. And I've reported on this, wrote about it extensively, just about how Howie's like a morning guy, Joe's a night guy. They would kind of when digging in. How he'd start, and then he kind of handed off to Joe, and Joe would finish, and they really played awfully well each other well, and certainly, as we all well know, they won a Super Bowl in 2017.
How much of do you think it's going to be a sort of take this and shove it revenge tour for the Eagles on some of these teams like the Packers and the Rams that obviously trying to ban this tush push and otherwise, that they're going to take it personally?
Well, let's see what happens here these next few days, right? That's the big question heading into the owners' meetings, the spring meetings, which isn't really kind of as well covered as the one in late March, early April. But that's the key vote is going to be on the tush push. The Packers have amended the rule as written to kind of have a little more of their banning just pushing and pulling in general, not just specific to this play. That may help get it passed. The reasons that they stayed are for injuries, which there's yet to be any study that's kind of shown that the tush push has increased the likelihood of injury. And the other one was pace of play, and I'm not really sure if that carries much weight as well. So we'll see what happens, though. My sense is that this is something Roger Goodell wants, and he's got to get 8 more votes. It was pretty much split down the middle, 16-16. He needs 24 votes to get the rule to pass, and then if it passes, then I guess certainly I don't think you need any additional incentive for beating teams in the NFL, right? Let's say given the opportunity, if they're beating them pretty good, and when you maybe put in your reserves, you leave in the starters maybe for a series longer. Maybe you do something like that, but it's tough enough to live in this NFL to win in the NFL to worry about stuff like that.
Speaking of voting, Adam Schefter reporting this morning early, right when we started the show, really, that he believes the league will vote for and allow players to participate in the 2028 Summer Olympics in flag football. How intense teams are with trying to protect their players. Obviously, training camp not as physical as it once was. I know flag football is flag football, but are you surprised that it seems to be heading toward that direction with the risks that come of it?
Well, I guess in terms of the NFL trying to expand its global reach and what they've done, certainly with the international games, that doesn't surprise me because this would be an opportunity to do that. But in terms of the practicality of it, or the players' willingness to do it, that kind of surprises me. That it's something that they'd want to do because it's not really football. It's, again, the players play enough as it is. Are they going to really want to participate in this? I mean, I'm sure there will be some, but yeah, sure, why not? I mean, there's some other bogus sports at the Olympics, so why not have another one?
Yep, we were talking about breakdancing earlier. Jeff, listen, man, we appreciate the time as always, brother. Keep up the great work. Great job yesterday. I know you were busy, so you earned the paycheck yesterday, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot.
There is Jeff McClain on the Comcast Business Hotline. Speaking of the flag football, Adam Schefter just put out a story with Kevin Seifert, also of ESPN.
Okay.
With some of the rules that would go into this. So I'll go through those with with you guys coming up next, and we'll check our text line as well at 610-632-0975. Plus, there's another thing that will be voted for.
What now?
This week about divisions.
No, they're also, too, should the Lambeau, they will vote today whether Lambeau will remove all urinals. All urinals in Lambeau Field.
It is
and from the executive offices.
Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Connor Thomas.
To Sirianni's credit,
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'll go through these sort of lists of demands from the NFL if they do allow players to participate in the 2028 Summer Olympics. I'm still amazed by it. And what's interesting is there are wordings in the document that could still help benefit the teams in case something happens. But before we do that, let's go to the phones. I know some people want to talk about the tush push potentially being banned. Let's go to Adam in Center City. What's up, Adam?
So I was just taking you guys off speaker, but first time, long time. Love you guys' show.
Thank you, buddy.
You're the man, Adam.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up a point on the tush push that I never really hear. For the Eagles, we pay 4 of our 5 O-linemen top dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that brought up regarding the tush push. And if other teams want to invest their resources there, excuse me, maybe they'd be better at it too.
You know what, though? We are also, though, and Jeff Kerr from CBS points this out. Do you know we're also the most successful team on the sneak?
Makes no sense to me. I mean,
So, I mean, we're also
towards the O-line.
Yeah, we really don't need.
Yeah,
they're
going to wait. They're going to take away the tush push, and I will wait for it like crack in week 1 for Jalen Hurts to do a regular QB sneak and score a touchdown, and just to see the whining that is done across the NFL.
100%. And I hope they save those plays for those teams, those whining teams.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh, by the way, if it's not Jalen Hurts sneaking it in, who's the running back of the Eagles, Adam? Can you remind me?
Saquon Barkley, 2,000-yard plus.
Yeah, like all
Saquon Barkley's going to be really
this is going to be for nothing. Thanks for the call, Adam. Like, it's just, honestly, it's sour grapes. That's what it all is. And the Eagles will still find a way to score touchdowns on short yardage plays because of their offensive line, to Adam's point. Jalen Hurts, to your point with Jeff Kerr, is reporting that they still sneak at a high level, and Saquon Barkley.
Well, it's like the bitchin' Bills. Yeah. Oh, we didn't get to touch the ball in overtime.
If they ban it, I want the Eagles to line up in that formation against the Packers on that Monday night, and then obviously audible out of it. I don't want the 10-yard penalty, but just troll them.
You could still do the formation, and then as soon as the snap happens, just have the guys behind Jalen
and then
put
you
their
still
arms
get
up.
it?
Yeah, be great.
That'd be so much fun.
All right, so
I want mocking of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that Sirianni's your guy for that.
If you score a touchdown, oh, dude, please. Trademark Andrew Salciunas. If they score a touchdown, I want one of their celebrations to be the tush push.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So fun.
Oh, against the Packers, against the Rams,
the Bills,
against the Commodes.
How many weddings have you seen now where the wedding party does the tush push? Just have the guys line up and do the tush push.
Even though Dan Quinn,
exactly.
by the way, Dan Quinn has not been a detractor of the tush push.
No, he's not.
He says stop it. Find a way to stop it.
Yeah, until they vote.
No, I don't think Dan Quinn, he was on record.
Yeah,
so
eight. Yeah,
I don't think
and 8 people will somehow be swayed.
It's bad if he is.
All right, so one of the things that the league will vote on, it looks like today, for the flag football. That's the wording. It seems like it could happen today. Per Schefter and Kevin Seifert. So here are some of the things that the league will add into it, because they're not just going to say, "Go ahead, guys, go play flag football," right? With all the money that's tied up.
So what are they going to do?
One of the bullets: permission for any player under NFL contract to participate in the trial. So anybody that wants to participate, go for it. However, there is a limit of 1 player per team on each national team participating. So you can't have Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley with Team USA.
1 Eagle.
Yes, per country, though.
Country.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then this is going to be like, seriously, you're going to get Embiid's.
Well, I told you, Tyreek Hill is trying to get citizenship in Japan.
You're going to get a bunch of Embiid's out there that just try to get any country to take them.
Now, one thing I thought about when Jeff McClain said, I don't even know how many people would do this. I'm curious how many people would do it because it's in L.A. And then the next time when it's like in a different country.
Uzbekistan.
Are a lot of NFL players going to want to do it because they're going to have to travel for it.
Right.
All right. Allowing, in addition, a team's designated international player to play for his home country. A purchase of league-wide insurance policies. Now, this is where we start getting into the weeds here.
All right.
A purchase of league-wide insurance policies.
If you put weed into it, a lot of players are going to want
to provide injury protection for any player injured while participating in an authorized flag football activity related to the Olympics. One of these things they're asking for is a salary cap credit for a player that's injured.
Okay, that's fair. All right, that's fair.
So you save some money if a player gets
Where
hurt.
are you going to get a $90 million, or not $90 million, $50 million contract cap hit for a year in a pinch after your quarterback
but
goes down?
No, you're getting the relief, though.
They're getting the cap hit relief.
Yeah, but how are you going to fill that?
Now, here's what you can do. You can use it for salary cap extensions. You can use it for extensions.
Hey,
but then you screw yourself next year.
Training camp cuts.
Training camp cuts.
You got some money. Obviously, nobody wants their players to get hurt just to have
You don't
cap
want
relief.
that, right? Exactly.
An expectation that Olympic flag football teams will establish medical staffs and field services that comply with the NFL minimum standards. So, it's like the Giants Stadium.
Mike Missanelli's going to have a field day with this one. He's going to want everybody watched.
And lastly, a schedule that does not unreasonably conflict with an NFL's players' league and club commitments. They did say that the flag football participants would miss the start of training camp. So there's a chance that they would miss the start.
They just missed the start. Yeah. It's all right. I mean, that's not the start never ends up being really anything anyway.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
Well, except for the Eagles last year. They were physical from the get-go last season in terms of what they used to be.
Yeah,
but there's
that's because an adult showed up, Vic Fangio.
Now, the other thing that they're going to vote for this week is whether or not the divisions will matter as much anymore. A winner of the division is an automatic bid, but it would be reseeded based off record.
So you no longer get an automatic home game if you win your division. I love this. I think it's so deserving. There's no way that a 14-win team, the Minnesota Vikings, should have had to go on the road and play a playoff game.
So you want the NBA structure. Because that's what it is. NBA divisions don't matter anymore except for scheduling.
No.
Though.
The first three seeds matter first round. First round, don't they?
What, in the NBA?
In the NBA, don't they?
No, it's just the highest, best record plays.
If the Vikings were that good, though, wouldn't they have won a game?
No. In the NBA,
the only thing that matters with the divisions is the tiebreakers. Like, remember last year the Sixers were tied with the Pacers and Magic, and there was a three-way tie, and one of the tiebreakers was division record. That's the only thing that matters. And scheduling, because you play the teams in your division four times.
I always thought the NBA was top three divisions were the seeds, though.
No. Really? No, if you have the most wins, you're the 1 seed. If you have the second most wins, you're the 2 seed. So you would be doing the NBA structure.
Okay, first round of the playoffs. You mean if you win your division and you have the 5th most wins, you're the 5 seed? I don't believe that in the NBA.
No, I think that's true.
Is it?
Yeah, it's.
I didn't think that.
That's why when you search NBA standings these days, they don't show the division.
I think it should be that way. Like I like that for the NFL, even though, like I mean, we had 8 and 8 teams hosting. We've had 7 and 9 teams host playoff games.
Yeah,
so far. Shouldn't happen. I like it. I like that rule. I don't think that's going to pass though.
Just so you know, 2022-23, the Celtics were the 2 seed, Sixers were the 3 seed. Same division.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter.
I don't think that's going to pass, by the way.
No,
I don't think NFL
there's a lot of reporters saying not yet, but maybe down the road. It's not. It doesn't have as much steam as the tush push. Believe it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Steamy tush push.
Unbelievable.
A steamy tush push.
All right, coming up next.
That's really bad.
Moving on from there, Delco Pooper. John Kincade has a simple task for the Phillies to help ease the stress of the Alvarado suspension.
It's easy.
Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sirianni is here to stay. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Yesterday, the Eagles announced they agreed to terms on a multi-year contract extension with head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni has been impressive to start his career in Philadelphia. It includes the highest winning percentage in franchise history as a coach, being the only coach to reach multiple Super Bowls with the team, and now, of course, Super Bowl champion. The exact terms of the deal have yet to be announced, but Sirianni is going to be here for many more years to come. One thing that may not be here for many years to come, however, is the tush push. The league is set to vote on the future of the play tomorrow at the NFL spring meetings. Yesterday, the Green Bay Packers revised the proposal to ban the play. The language prohibits an offensive player from pushing, pulling, lifting, and assisting a runner other than blocking opponents for him. We will find out the fate of that play tomorrow. The Phillies began their 4-game series against the Colorado Rockies last night with a 9-3 win, and they wake up today in first place in the NL East and the best team in the National League as a whole. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, and Edmundo Sosa all came through with 2 RBI last night. Kyle Schwarber also blasted the 300th home run of his career. The Phils and Rockies are back at it again tonight. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 8:40. This update was brought to you by WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, your personal messages stay private because your personal messages are yours. No one else can see them or hear them, not even WhatsApp. WhatsApp message privately with everybody. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA playoffs, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry. You can still hear all your favorite Fanatic shows.
.5 The Fanatic. John has a simple request for the Phillies, task for the Phillies to
Keep it
ease
simple,
the pain
stupid.
of the Jose Alvarado suspension. Tell us that, and then we'll get back to our text messages on all of our topics about the Eagles, the tush push, the NFL voting for flag football, and, of course, Nick Sirianni's extension.
Got a weak schedule. We've been talking about it, weak schedule. So right now, the Phillies are in a position. By the way, you know they wake up this morning. Gunner, how many teams are better than the Phillies in baseball?
Just one.
Yep. The Detroit Tigers.
It's amazing.
Not the Detroit Tigers if you live in Delco. The Detroit Tigers.
Detroit.
They're the only team that has a better record than the Phillies. Phillies had the best record in the National League.
You care so much about that.
And the Phillies have games with the Rockies, 3 more with the Rockies, 3 at the A's. Then they come home for a big series with the Braves, but then they're playing the Brewers, at the Blue Jays, at the Pirates. Then they have 3 more with the Jays at home, a 4-game series with the Marlins. I mean, seriously, boys, we've got a wonderful opportunity before Father's Day that this team can really be smoking some wins up the column here. And to me, that really sets it up where you can separate yourself from the other teams in the National League and everything like that. You don't have to make a move on the Jose Alvarado situation right now. You're playing bad teams, and you're a really good team.
So
you can survive. You can survive the next month right now. You're going to take this will take you up a month from now. I just gave you the schedule.
Yep.
You can survive it without going in. You don't have to go and knee-jerk a trade to try to make up for Jose Alvarado being gone.
Right. And this schedule takes you to mid-June when you play.
Right, that's Father's Day
it's
weekend.
Mets, Astros, Braves, Padres. So
Right.
a lot of good baseball teams. But once you get through that, you'll be in the month of July. Obviously, the trade deadline is the end of July. You could start making trades. We have seen
Right
teams
around
make
that.
trades earlier before the deadline.
Yes, I
Look,
mean
they're going to acquire a reliever, right? Like
at some point.
they're
but
going to acquire one.
The longer you wait, the lesser you pay.
Yes.
Longer you wait, they're going to be people tell you, no. The trade deadline's when the price goes up. No. If you start buying now, you're going to overpay.
Yeah, remember, was it 2 years ago? Was it last year or 2 years ago?
What was that?
The first baseman conversation. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Because Hoskins got hurt, and we didn't know about
Well, Hoskins
Bryce.
got hurt in spring training.
Right, and people were saying trade for a first baseman. There was the guy with the Rockies that had the big bat.
Oh, yes.
And it would have cost
And he
them,
only had like 1 year left.
it would have cost them an arm and a leg because it was like 5 games into the season that we were talking about whether or not they should trade for this player.
I remember now. And I
So
cannot think
the
of his
longer you wait, to your point, the less expensive it's going to be, unless they can tell that you're desperate.
name. Well, they know. And the thing is, the longer your record's like this, you're not desperate.
Right.
That's the key. Is that so the Phillies continue to win. Phillies continue to do well. They're not desperate.
Now, there is also players that are available just out on the streets. Mark Feinstein reported yesterday that even before the Alvarado suspension, the Phillies had already made calls to David Robertson.
Why would you not make that call?
Yeah, at this point, you make the call. You bring him in for a workout. You see what the guy's got. He had a good season last year. I will tell you, when he pitched for the Phillies, even though he was great,
Why would you not?
it just felt like every outing it was dicey. But hey, that's
Jose
a lot
Alvarado.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd say Jose Alvarado, 40% of his outings. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, probably. That's probably
Yeah.
the math. At this point, you just bring him in for a workout. If he doesn't have life on his fastball, it was a workout.
Yeah, bring him in.
It is what it is.
Why does it matter?
If he shows that he has something, well, there's now another respected arm that you know you can trust in big situations, at least from a mentality standpoint. You just hope that he still has something left. Now, look, that doesn't solve the left-handed situation.
No.
Which that is something they
And
will
I don't think
definitely
he's
have
necessarily an answer.
No.
But
it's another arm.
But he could be a bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Amy Fadul not in today. She usually joins us for the entire 9 o'clock hour on Tuesdays. She couldn't do today. She's going to be joining us tomorrow. We got another busy day tomorrow.
Why is
Obviously, Shefty. With
Right.
all the voting that will be going on. Our man Matt Gelb's going to join us tomorrow from Denver. We'll have Amy Fadul for the 9 o'clock hour. So a lot to unpack tomorrow, too. But we still got an hour left here, and we're reacting to the Nick Sirianni contract extension. And one of our questions that we asked you guys at 610-632-0975 is just how comfortable you are with Nick Sirianni as the head coach. Because let's not act like it hasn't been a roller coaster. It has been. Despite them winning,
Oh, it's been a total roller coaster.
it's been a ride with Nick Sirianni. Which is why I don't blame anybody that says, hey, I'm slightly uncomfortable. Like, again,
He makes you uncomfortable.
the offensive coordinator situation, I don't know who Kevin Patullo is. I don't know if he's going to be a good offensive coordinator. What I do know is when Brian Johnson was not panning out, Nick Sirianni did not say, all right, guys, let me try to handle this. He let Brian Johnson sink with the ship, Brian Johnson is now not an offensive coordinator, right? Like we quickly found out.
Yeah, 2 creams, 1 sugar.
And so now we're trying to figure out who Kevin Patullo is. And if it doesn't work out with Patullo, Sirianni has shown you already that he's not going to be like, all right, let me try to overtake this. And that's the one thing that I worry about Sirianni. Antics, I don't really care unless it becomes a distraction.
Okay, there are multiple times, though, where it's been a distraction. Like you say, I don't care about the annex. I've heard this from a lot of people. I don't care about the annex. No, it's meant something. It's meant enough that the owner of the team has had to step in multiple times.
The Browns one was crazy.
And address it.
Yes.
His antics. We heard from Steve Weish how NFL, other coaches in the league think about him.
Yeah.
The antics, they do matter. They do matter. There's no reason to do it. There really isn't a reason to.
Yeah, but if the players love it, which apparently they do to a certain extent, right?
To a certain extent,
Jordan
Mailata said he
is on the
doesn't.
record saying,
but he doesn't really.
Right.
He doesn't really. He thinks it's a distraction.
Well, he doesn't. He likes that he is.
He likes that he's himself, but he doesn't like it when it's a distraction.
When it's too much, like the Super Bowl moment a couple of years ago when they lost.
I guarantee they didn't like that. I guarantee you. I will tell you. There are players who did not like the mugging for the camera in the Giants game. I know that. There were players who didn't like the finding the camera and mugging because you're the coach. You're not. Stop. That's not you.
Better be careful, Bill.
Don't do that.
Billy
Don't do that
Billy
stuff.
Sirianni might come
Don't
after
be
you.
mugging for the cameras. Just to play your part. Go on out there and win the game. Don't be getting it. Don't be jawing at other teams where you have to actually have a coach on the sideline that polices you from getting into fights with opposing players.
What do we got in the text line, Gunner?
We got, let's see, no name on this one. Detroit. No, just kidding. Nick better be giving a good bit of that money to the guys who got that extension for him, Lane and the rest of the offensive linemen. If not for their meeting during the bye week to change the game plan, he would never have gotten this extension.
Yeah, see, and that's why I asked the question.
That's fine, right?
But that's why I asked the question, how comfortable people are, because there's a thought, hey, how much does he actually do for this team? Now, again, you should give him credit for listening. I know that it should never have gotten to that point. You, as my witness, I wanted them to run the football more, not just being the old school Philadelphia Eagle fan. Like, no, you have this running back with this offensive line. Just do it, especially when Jalen looked uncomfortable early on with another new offense, trying to figure out more stuff. He was the guy that was calling out the blitzes. Remember, that was one of my things. Hurts is already trying to learn more about being the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. Why not try to make his life easier? And if that meeting never happens, I don't know what happens in the weeks afterward. I don't know.
The run the ball fans were right.
Yes.
And they always get painted as the dopes. But the run the ball fans were right. They knew what to do.
Hell yeah, man.
And the offensive linemen backed them up.
Damn right.
About time.
All right, what else we got on the text line?
We got Hayes in South Philly checking in saying being a good coach is not all about the X's and O's. It's about being able to take different egos and personalities and making it work. A real coach has to manage all those things. Guys like Larry Brown and Phil Jackson were great at this. It seems like Nick Sirianni is as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. But what's to stop you from being great at both? Larry Brown, and he said Larry Brown and Phil Jackson. Larry Brown and Phil Jackson are two of the greatest X's and O's coaches that have probably the NBA's ever known. They are great at managing the personalities and great at also doing the X's and O's. You can be both. Can be both. It's
unless
not
he's not good at the X's and O's.
No, the thing is though, so
you can't say it's not that hard. Clearly, it's that hard.
But what I would say is don't mention Nick Sirianni in the same breath as great strategist.
Right. Yes.
Don't mention him. He's not in their discussion.
Yes.
He's great at what he does. He's Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson is great at what he does. Rob Thompson, his players would tell you, talk to any one of them. They would tell you what his skill set is. He creates a positive working environment. They enjoy their working environment.
But he also may know certain the dagger. That was Sirianni.
That was Sirianni
saying to go for it. Kellen Moore called the play, but
it is a little easy though to be also you're up big in a game and you're saying let's go for it. There was little risk at that point. If it's a turnover, you're turning it over
You're still up
inside.
big. I got
and
you.
your defense was playing ferocious. If you turn the ball over there, what do? You turn it over inside your 20 or inside the 10?
Yeah.
You know, there was little risk.
All right.
Go for it. I like that. No, I love the call, and I'm glad that he did it.
Let's go to Danny in Jersey. What's up, Danny? You're on the Fanatic.
Yeah, listen, I just want to, expound on the tush push, why they want to ban it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question is, how much difference, I'm a Philly fan, I love all Philadelphia teams, I'm from Jersey, but how much difference is the tush push from a quarterback sneak? Because Buffalo is good at it, too.
Yeah, the tush push is literally just what it is, what the word is. It's somebody's pushing from behind. Whereas the quarterback sneak, it's one man.
And Buffalo does the same thing with Josh Allen.
That's what I'm saying. So other teams can do the same thing.
Yeah. And they have not been able to be as successful at it, so they are whining. They're wussies. They're losers. They're crying. They're taking their ball and going home by voting for this. That's why I call Sean McDermott a hypocrite, Danny, because Sean McDermott and the Bills ran it the second most times over the last 2 seasons, and yet they're the ones that are trying to push to get rid of it. And then Sean McDermott says on the record, if it doesn't get banned, they're still going to run it. So he's a hypocrite when he cites player safety.
Okay, so if you're running a business and you say, Dan, this works, try it, and it's successful, and I do the same thing and I'm successful, okay, so you got haters that
that's all, dude, Danny, that's all it is, man. And thanks for the call, Dan. It's literally just people don't like it. That's what we found out. The Eagles are really good at it. Other teams can't do it, so they're taking their ball and going home.
That's it.
That's all it is. Like, there is no player safety is the biggest crock of crap when it comes to this debate because there are 0 documented injuries on the play.
Bottom line.
And they're trying to cite these things that aren't true. It's ultimately they don't like it. And there are some people that have been man enough, even though it's not really manly, but man enough to admit that they just don't like it. Right? Like LaFleur.
Oh, well, please.
He at least said, I don't like it.
Well, I mean.
Like, he's not trying to cite injury. Sean McDermott saying, I'm worried about the player safety, and yet he runs it the second most is hypocrisy. I've been saying it from the beginning. It's ridiculous. They should lose their vote.
Well, unfortunately, hypocrites get to vote, too.
Coming up next, we'll continue checking our text line. But also, Johnny, I saw this morning the list of highest paid players at each position in the NFL.
Uh-oh.
We'll go through it. There is one Eagle. But there are many on 2 teams that make me wonder how much runway they have left. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
6:13 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, we'll get our text messages here momentarily, but I just wanted to go through this with you guys real quick. The Fox put together the list of the highest paid players by position. All right. The Eagles have one, and there's two teams on here that have, like, multiple.
Highest paid by position.
So they're going off the annual average salary. So Dak is the highest paid quarterback in terms of that conversation with $16 million a year. Man. Saquon, highest paid running back at 20.6. So he's the Eagle that tops a position. Jamar Chase, Bengals wide receiver. George Kittle, Niners tight end. Tristan Wirfs, who's a tackle for the Buccaneers. These guys are all very talented, by the way. Like I guess you could say Dak's a bad contract because of the injury and they haven't won anything.
I don't think Dak's it,
but I mean, $60 million is crazy.
Dak's just been injured.
Yeah. Trey Smith, guard for the Chiefs at 23. Creed Humphrey, the center for the Chiefs at $18 million. Myles Garrett, $40 million for the Browns. Wow. Chris Jones, $31.75 for the Chiefs.
By the way, I'd never pay Myles Garrett that contract.
Josh Hines Allen, the edge rusher slash off, it's the weird outside linebacker. $28.25 for the Jags. Fred Warner, $21 million for the Niners. Derek Stingley, the cornerback for the Texans, $30 million. Kirby Joseph, safety for the Lions. And then Harrison Butker and Michael Dixon, the two special teams players. So the Chiefs have 4 players that are the highest paid player by position, and the Niners have 3. So the Niners are trying to cut salary. By the way, they just gave Brock Purdy $50 per.
They did.
If you're drafting well, you can do this, right?
Yeah, you can do that, sure.
But it's amazing that the Eagles only have 1 player on this list. We think about how much money they're paying certain players, right? Oh, my God. How are they going to pay the defense? That's why they have to do cost cutting. And yet they still don't have many players at the top of the list, whereas teams like the Chiefs and Niners have a lot of players. And that could be dangerous because you have to hit on your draft picks.
Well, I think there's a lot of danger with I think the business model of the Chiefs right now has been a bit of a problem anyway. There just doesn't seem like there's any. To me, they don't seem like they've got continuity. Like the Chiefs don't have the same continuity the Eagles have.
Letting Tyreek Hill walk, and I understand why.
Well,
it was a lot of money, but, it's not like they found Mahomes as good of a receiver since then.
They haven't.
Now, they still won a Super Bowl without him.
They did.
2.
They've won 2 without him?
They beat us and the 49ers. They didn't have Tyreek Hill.
Okay, for both of them. Yeah. Okay. So they've still won. But you have a lot of money locked up to some guys. Same with the 49ers. I mean, even though the 49ers went into this offseason with the plan of cutting cost,
what did they cut?
They've since then given money to Brock Purdy and George Kittle, too.
Well, they had to. They got to lock. That's part of the reason why they let some guys walk.
Yeah.
Is because of the fact that they have got to still be able to pay some of them.
But now they got to try to build a team because, the clock's ticking on some of these guys. Clock's ticking on Christian McCaffrey, who's always hurt.
Crystal McCaffrey. It's very fragile out there. I love seeing them struggle.
Yeah, look, they're going to be good this year because their schedule is very weak. Yeah, so they'll be in the playoffs, but how real are they? We'll find out not until January. All right, what do we got on the text line, Gunner?
We got Tim in Middletown, Delaware, checking in, saying my manager does not make the schedule, does not do. I can't read right now.
Does not do diddly.
Does not do diddly. Yes, but he is the one we recognize as the boss. This narrative is nonsense surrounding Nick Sirianni. I prefer a head coach that does not call plays, keep his head in the overall game.
Okay, but again, I'm cool with the CEO head coach. I'm totally fine with it. But when the time comes where the offensive coordinator is struggling, where Sirianni's background is supposed to be offense.
Okay.
We saw it with Brian Johnson. He had the opportunity to try to take over, and he did not do it. So this year, when we're trying to repeat and trying not to repeat what happened 2 seasons ago, if Patullo is struggling, there's only one guy that you can turn to, and it's Sirianni. And if he refuses to do it again, then we're going to go through the whole song and dance again of trying to find another new offensive coordinator.
You know something that really bothered me today? I took it down in my notes. I made eye contact at the time with Gunner. I wrote it down, and then I forgot to talk about it with you, but I found it here in my notes.
What'd I say?
No, not you said. Jeff McClain couldn't answer the question. How do you feel that that Nick Sirianni is thought of amongst his peers? He couldn't answer the question, and he was like, "Well, I would think he has to be well respected, but he's sort of unpopular because of." He danced around the whole thing.
Yeah, well, he's also covering the Eagles. I don't know if he's spending time with opposing coaches asking, "Hey, what do you think about Sirianni?"
He has an impression.
Yeah,
because he talks about it. It just is that I don't know. I just look at it as that there's something to this. I think there's something to this entire story of the tush push being banned that is involved with this too.
No, I said it when this first came out that there are teams that are probably going to vote against the tush to ban the tush push just to despite Nick Sirianni.
Yes, and I think that that's part of this. Is that it's a big part of this story is that sometimes when you act a certain way and people have a chance to get one up on you, they do.
Possibly.
Because they want to.
Could absolutely be a part of it.
That's part of what you're...
Now, I would still flip off those teams that are doing it because of that. We're going to get you.
I would also say that maybe you don't have to act like that. To me, I would think that also is what I would say.
Or the commissioner should not try to sway the commissioner should not try to sway the vote, which he clearly is doing.
No, he's clearly done that.
Unbelievable. All right, coming up next, I want to talk a little bit about the Phillies because we've talked about the fact that they are back on top in the NL East.
That's wild.
The team that they surpassed, have you noticed the issues that they're currently having with the superstar? We'll talk about Juan Soto and the Mets coming up next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sirianni gets extended. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Yesterday, the Eagles announced they have agreed to terms on a multi-year contract extension with head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni has had an impressive start to his career, which includes the highest win percentage in franchise history as a coach, being the only coach to reach multiple Super Bowls with the team. And now, of course, he's a Super Bowl champion. The exact terms of the deal have yet to be announced, but Sirianni will be here for many years to come. One thing that may not be here for many years to come, however, is the tush push. The league is set to vote on the future of the play tomorrow at the NFL spring meetings. Yesterday, the Green Bay Packers revised their proposal to ban the play. The language prohibits an offensive player from pushing, pulling, lifting, and assisting a runner other than blocking opponents for him. We'll find out the fate of the play tomorrow. The Phillies began a 4-game series against the Colorado Rockies last night with a win, 9-3 win as a matter of fact. And they wake up today in first place in the NL East and the best team in the National League. Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, and Edmundo Sosa all came through with 2 RBI. Kyle Schwarber blasted the 300th home run of his career last night as well. The Phils and Rockies are back at it again tonight. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 8:40 tonight. This update was brought to you by WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, your personal messages stay private because your personal messages are yours. No one else can see them or hear them, not even WhatsApp. WhatsApp message privately with everybody. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the NBA playoffs. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll get back to our text messages here momentarily. But if you look at the Major League Baseball standings here on May 20th, the Philadelphia Phillies have a half-game lead over the New York Mets. Phillies 7-3 in their last 10. The Mets have gone 5-5 in their last 10. And over the weekend, it was the rivalry weekend. So obviously, everybody was excited for the historic rivalry between the Phillies and Pirates.
Yeah, it's nothing like the Battle of Pittsburgh. One of the historic rivalries.
You know, when I think Phillies baseball, I think about that rivalry with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Hannes Wagner and all the guys on the Phils going at it back in the day. It was great stuff.
Those were great games, man.
I'm telling you.
But anyways, the Mets had their actual rivalry. They did the Subway Series with the New York Yankees. And it was actually great theater. Those 3 days.
Especially Pete Alonso trying to throw somebody out of home plate.
That throw was abysmal.
Okay, I could do that.
Yeah, you could. You could make a horrible throw.
I mean, it was terrible. I could. I mean, that was so bad.
Yeah, it was.
I think I could make I would have maybe skipped the throw. I mean, I wouldn't throw it into the dugout.
First, I'd like to see you field the ground ball.
That was terrible. That was horrendous. Wait a minute. That wasn't that bad. One to do is it's the pressure.
So
I think he felt the pressure.
He may have felt the pressure. All right, so the Mets are now, hitting a bit of a skid because, they were playing above their
Well, they're
head.
playing a hard schedule, too.
Yeah, they are. And
it's going to get worse.
Juan Soto, there's some issues right now with the New York Mets and Juan Soto.
Uh-oh.
In a game one of the games against the Yankees, in the 8th inning, he hit a ball where the Yankees' second baseman made a diving play to his right, so he's going towards center field.
Yep.
And Soto didn't run.
No, he didn't run.
In a tie ball game in the 8th inning.
Well, you don't want him to, I'm going to use the Dylan McKinnon, Dylan McTrollan thing. Well, you don't want him to run every ball out hard.
Yeah.
You can't run every ball out hard. You can't expect them to run every ball out hard.
I hear that about Bryce Harper. I hate that
Yeah, I mean,
nonsense.
come on. If it's Bryce Harper, that's excusable.
Yeah.
Right? That's the rule, right? Yeah. Okay.
So there's a lot of stories that have been coming out. Now, there's one that has been
about
they put a kibosh on it.
About
the
missing
private,
the Yankees?
No, the private jet. Somebody reported that
it was Boomer Esiason.
He had his own private jet to fly to games, and they're like, that's not true. They have if his family wants to fly out on road games, they would fly with the owner. Like his wife and kids.
Okay.
So that's the deal. That people thought that Juan Soto was flying on his own private jet to games.
Wait a minute though. There have been a lot of prima donnas in baseball.
Yeah.
Cal Ripken.
Gotcha. But I'm just saying that story was not true. But he thought that when he went back to the Bronx, that he was going to be welcomed back with open arms and cheers because they got to the World Series, and instead he heard it.
He should hear it.
Yeah, you signed elsewhere.
He chose to go to the post. He chose to go to the crosstown team.
Right. You went to the Mets, and
he just went. And he went for money.
And it's not like the Yankees weren't going to offer. It's like the Jason Worth thing. Like the Phillies weren't going to pay Jason Worth what he got with the Nationals. So you got your bag. Good for you.
I gave him nothing but the best.
The Yankees were going to give Juan Soto a lot of money. And he took more money with the Mets, like $700 million. It's a lot of money.
Now
the biggest contract in sports history.
The only thing is, though, when he went to the Mets, the Yankees were offering him the difference was like 10%, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't crazy. Now 10% of $700 million is a lot, but
at that point,
bottom line is the Yankees were going to pay Juan Soto, and he took more money to go with the Mets. And all these reports coming out of New York is that he's disinterested. Or he doesn't seem to be too happy. And
I think he realizes playing for the Mets is not playing for the Yankees.
Is the stuff new, though? He's always had these weird issues, and that was kind of the warning sign for a lot of people here. Even when we wanted him, was like, hey, you're going to have to deal with this along the way.
Look, I'm not going to change my tune. I would have taken him if they had the money to do it.
Well, general manager Bryce Harper, I'm sure, was trying to swing the deal.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did try to get him here.
Well, they never even made a call.
But here's the deal, 15 years. Signed a 15-year contract.
So dumb.
So I would
Such a dumb deal.
Now, there is an opt-out after the 2029 season.
Yeah.
which is, again, a long time from now.
By the way, he'll be opting out.
Has any of those ever 10-plus year contracts ever worked out for more than half? Like the Pujols one sucked in L.A. with the Angels.
Yeah,
Like,
Rendon was abysmal
terrible.
for them.
Well, that's because I think a lot of – how do I word this? I think there's a lot of players of that era that maybe weren't the age that we think they were.
Could be.
I am 13.
Yeah. I'm signing with this team in the international pool, and I'm really 17 years old.
It could be.
Now,
Yeah.
I've got a wife and kids and a mortgage.
But
That's a crazy theory right there.
could be.
No, the age. Oh no.
Here's the
it's
deal.
It's not a theory.
It's
not a theory.
Albert
It's-
Pujols?
No, there's a theory.
Well,
there's a lot of
Miguel Cabrera
lot of
was not
players
his
of that age.
actual
You're
age.
a little young for it, but there's a lot of players of the era
remember
that-
Miguel Tejada?
Yes.
Miguel
yeah,
Tejada
yeah.
was like 5 years older than what he actually
I would
was.
tell you,
that with the
I
Orioles,
would
yeah.
tell you is that Julio Franco would tell us stories back in the day, and Julio Franco was like I don't know how old he really was. He really was, but he would tell us. We'd be like, "Wait a minute, how old are you?"
Yeah.
like we would, and he would joke about.
Meanwhile, that guy can still rake.
He could.
Have you
but
seen videos of him? Like he's in his 60s and the cage is still just.
But Julio Franco was playing. It was like, okay, how old are you? Like, you're 38, and he'd go, "Yeah, I'm 38."
Yeah.
And he looked like he was 50.
Right.
Like, you know, it's just there was a lot of age issues with the players.
Right.
It's crazy.
But that's obviously not the issue with Juan Soto. There's just something going on and something to keep an eye on. Now, here's the deal. I'm not going to write him off because remember,
No.
Lindor, his first year with the Mets was abysmal.
And boy, he's turned into everything we hoped Trey Turner would have been.
Yeah, he's become the superstar that they signed.
He's what we thought Trey Turner was going to be.
But it's like this stuff's starting to pile up, and now all of a sudden the Mets are losing ball games. And if
That's
that
terrible
continues,
to say. We hate it. Well, the pitching has also become a little less effective. Not terrible, but a little less effective. They were leading baseball.
I knew that wasn't going to keep.
Well, we knew that.
Yeah,
but
I mean-
it started to spring a little bit of a leak, and that helps. That helps. But the Braves, are lurking too, and we'll see that next week. We get it. It's great to get a taste of that next week.
By the way, in 1993, Miguel Tejada said he was 17 years old, but he was actually 19. So not that crazy of a
No, but
difference.
they're off.
2
But
years
they would
is 2
sign
years.
off to get those extra years.
Yeah, it happens.
Ask Deke. Dikembe Mutombo
Okay.
told the story later that Dikembe Mutombo was not the age that he said he was.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Dikembe
Yes,
Mutombo, man.
Deke. Oh my gosh.
Thon Maker, dude. How?
Yeah, he lied about his age. It was crazy.
There was a lot of that going on.
Thon was it Thon Maker? Who was the guy that the Celtics had? The other guy that was gigantic.
Oh,
Taco Fall.
Taco Fall. So there was a day I did a show. I did remote at the Blue Coats facility. They had a matinee game, so they wanted us down there.
Really?
And Taco Fall was doing the opening tip. And the guy the Blue Coats sent out was like 6'6". The guy didn't even jump. Taco Fall
Less than a foot.
He
Yeah.
basically just tapped it up. It was amazing. That
Did they
guy
have a taco promotion that day?
No, because he didn't play for the Blue Coats. He
No, but
played
still,
for the
that still would be the day I'd want to have a taco.
It was unbelievable. Like watching him walk because you're in a small gym. The Blue Coats
it's
facility's
awesome.
not like
It's a beautiful facility.
it's great.
though.
I love it there. But watching him walk around, you're like, dude, this guy's gonna hit the ceiling.
It's unbelievable.
Ginormous.
All right, coming up next, we'll sneak in a couple more text messages. We'll look ahead to today's Phillies game, and of course, the Key 3 comes your way as well. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you, so text us at 610-632. continue their series with the Rockies today, as they should have no reason to not sweep them in 4 games. Jesus Luzardo gets the start today for the Phils, 4-0 with a 2-even ERA, 57 strikeouts.
Yeah, they do have a reason not to be able to sweep them.
Why?
Because 4-game sweeps are incredibly difficult and done less than 20% of the time.
I don't care about your numbers.
No, but I mean, it's very rare to have.
Here are your numbers. Antonio Senzatella with a 1-7 record, 6.39 ERA. Carson Palmquist. He does not even exist in my life.
Wasn't he a quarterback for the Bengals?
That sounds like a made-up video game guy.
It does. He's 0-1 with an 11.25 ERA. And Herman Marquez, who earlier this year Connor's trying to tell us, he's actually not as bad as you make him out to be. 1-6 with an 8.78 ERA. He sucks.
Armand's head.
The entire Rockies pitching rotation is disrespectful to the sport of baseball. That's why they should not exist. Who needs a team out in Colorado? You don't need one.
I just want to go there to watch my team play. But
yeah, because you want to see Kyle Schwarber hit a home run that goes 9 million feet.
You want to hang out in Lodo, too. It's fun.
By the way, John was, I forgot to bring this up. So during one of the commercial breaks, John goes, if you're the guy that gets the 300th home run ball.
Yeah, which happened last night.
He asked if Schwarber should have given more. I said, no, the kid should have asked for more if he felt necessary.
I honestly don't believe that.
If the guy says all I want is autographed bat, then boom.
That's all you need.
Deal. Over. John thinks that Schwarber should have taken an initiative to give in more. Without even the kid asking.
That's crazy.
That's what I said.
An autographed bat?
Yeah.
What else do you...
From the 300th home run?
It's not like it's Barry Bonds' record.
Let me tell you, if that ball goes on, so I did the research today. If that ball was sold, a 300th home run ball. I just did search on 300th home run balls for players. They tend to run, mostly can run $1,000, $1,700, $1,900.
So the kid should have asked for it.
Timmy should have known better.
You don't go up to a player and say, I want $1,700 for the ball. That's ridiculous.
Well,
now listen. Hear me out on this. Kyle Schwarber, that's what those home run balls tend to be worth.
What's more valuable to the kid?
Okay,
$1,000 in his pocket.
First of all, he's not a kid.
Probably
he's a young guy. He gets a bat from Kyle Schwarber. Okay,
you know what he looks like? Did you see the photo of him? He looks like Positive Josh.
He doesn't
Colorado
look a little
edition.
like him. Yes, looks a little stoned.
He's got the mustache.
He gets the
flannel shirt.
He gets the bat from him. Kyle Schwarber knows what that's worth.
Yeah, but
he knows what.
But if the guy never asked for any, if he just said, "Hey, what do you want for the bat, kiddo or adult, Gabriel? What do you want for the bat or for the ball, Gabriel? Hey, man, congratulations! I would just love a signed bat."
All right, players last year,
boom, done.
Last year, players in Major League Baseball bought back similar balls for $2,000 to $4,000.
Yeah, because maybe the person was requesting money.
But I'm serious. So players know what these are worth.
Okay, but the guy agreed to the deal of just a signed bat
because he doesn't know what it's worth.
So Kyle Schwarber's supposed to bend over backwards? Yeah. Be like, no, take this jersey too.
Bend over backwards? You go a little extra mile because here's the Kyle Schwarber doesn't pay a dime for that bat. That's not a...
Maybe if Colorado fans knew exactly what they were dealing with, they would know that ball's worth more money than a bat.
They knew it was worth.
You're questioning whether or not Schwarber should have gone out of his own way to do more. If the guy agreed to the deal, that's it. Period.
That's terrible.
Why? He asked for the bat, clearly. And apparently he only recently got into baseball as a fan.
So he doesn't.
So he probably doesn't even know.
Exactly. Doesn't even know what it's worth.
All right, so
doesn't even know what he was holding.
Where's this guy going to find somebody to pay $1,000 for Kyle Schwarber?
You can find it. No, that's right there.
It's all out there.
But he has to go out there and find it. That's work in and of itself.
100 home run, 200 home run balls, 300 home run balls, 400 home run balls have sold for anywhere from $1,700 to $3,400 in the past 3 years.
Especially
in the marketplace.
Especially if you expect Schwarber.
All he does is he's got it.
But
here's the work.
Who's saying he wants to go sign up on this, say it's for sale like that? It's not as easy as, hey, I'm posting on the internet. Someone's going to pick it up on Facebook Marketplace.
It's pretty cool. I mean, the Ohtani 50-50 ball, I mean, those bids started the next day.
Come on, it's not hard.
Yeah, but it's not that's a lot different than Kyle Schwarber's 300.
No, it's not. For Major League Baseball players' ball, first of all, not many players hit 300 home runs. It's a memorable number.
Especially a guy like Schwarber, who's most likely going to hit 400.
And they know what that ball's worth. When they're getting that guy a bat, they know what it's worth. They know that there are players that have
maybe
paid.
he's an antisocial guy. He doesn't want to deal with the bidding for the ball, and just call it a day.
I just can't believe you're like, if anything, rip the kid for only getting the bat.
First of all, he's not a kid. He doesn't know.
But the thing is, what I'm reading young adults.
No, but the thing is, he doesn't know what it's worth.
Oh.
So he's trading something away. He's giving it to the player. The Rockies representatives came to him because it was a historic ball.
Right.
And said to him, this is a ball that Mr. Schwarber will probably want. Would you like to come down, meet him, see if you could? That's what they did. He was offered the bat.
And he took it.
He took it. He didn't know
what
it was.
Not my fault my man doesn't know the art of the deal.
He didn't know what it was worth.
Like, maybe money's just not that important to the guy.
He didn't know what it was worth.
He could have Googled it. You did it just now. Why not?
Because he's not. He's walking back. The Rockies representatives came to him immediately after he caught the ball.
Yeah, but he's not talking to Schwarber until after the game. He had time to try to figure that out.
Oh, my gosh.
I can't believe you're ripping Schwarber for this.
I'm not just saying is that they know what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. The guy's giving up something for a bat that Schwarber didn't even pay for.
Rip the kid. Don't rip Schwarber, man.
My gosh.
All right, give us a text message there, Gunner, and then we'll get to our key three.
We got John V checking in on that Olympic conversation from earlier, saying, in one breath, the NFL wants to ban the tush push because of player safety issues. There's also 0 injuries in parentheses, he says. But they want to allow players to play in the Olympics, completely ignoring the player safety there.
Yeah. Now, there's going to be all those insurance policies that go into it, which we read earlier from the story from Kevin Seifert, that if they do play in it, there will be an insurance policy where if the player gets hurt, there's cap relief.
I like that a lot. Because I still don't understand where this benefits the NFL. They're not paying the...
The only thing that benefits is more internationalized. That's literally it. I mean, Jeff McClain even said it earlier. That's the biggest thing. He's not surprised that it's going to pass or if it passes, because they want more international eyes. I mean, look, they're all over the place this year.
They are. But this isn't even the sport.
Yeah, but it's still, and then you follow them to the sport. Because I'm going to guess somebody from Poland is not going to follow the Polish flag football team after watching Lamar Jackson. They're going to go, oh, let me watch this American football game that people talk about.
Okay.
It's just a way of advertising.
Yeah, and that's if you get Lamar Jackson playing it.
Right. And who knows who will end up playing it.
If you get a bunch of, scrubbinis playing it, then it's not going to be the same.
All right, it's time now for the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3, today's best.
Nick Sirianni and the Eagles agreed on a multi-year extension. Here is the statement from Jeffrey Lurie. As an organization, we have always strived to create a championship culture of sustained success. Nothing is more important to fostering such an environment than having tremendous leadership. Nick has embodied everything we were looking for in a head coach since we hired him 4 years ago. His authentic style of leadership, football intelligence, passion for the game, and growth mindset have helped to bring out the best in our team. I am excited for what the future holds for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, look, there's no denying that this guy has had a ton of success. Wins, losses, 2 Super Bowl appearances, won the Super Bowl. I mean, it's unbelievable considering how it started. How comfortable are you with him as the head coach of the Philadelphia?
Very.
Yeah.
Very. But I will say this, though I've been very critical at times, I didn't want him fired. I have not called for him to be fired. So
you're not a coward.
I'm not spiking the football on that, but my whole reasoning was not that I thought Nick was doing that great a job. It was that there is 0 chance that I am firing a coach who'd been to the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Phillies won last night, John.
They did, baby. And guess what? They woke up this morning.
9-3, they beat the Rockies. And if anybody went to bed because you were disappointed with how the game was playing out,
it was bad.
You missed a power surge by the Phillies offense in the final 3 innings. Going into the 7th inning, it was 3-1 Rockies, and they're making Kyle Freeland, for the second time this season, look like Cy Young. And then they get to the bullpen, and the Phillies offense just wakes up. They put up 1 run in the top of the 7th, 4 in the 8th, 3 in the 9th, in order to win 9-3 yesterday. Alec Boehm hits home runs in minor league ballparks and Colorado. He gets his 2nd home run of the season yesterday. Mundo Sosa goes 4 for 5. Kyle Schwarber hits his 300th career home run, so congratulations to Schwarber.
And no, he hit it into, I think he hit it to Utah.
Yeah, it was a freaking blast. Turner, 3 more hits yesterday. Bryce Harper, 2 more hits yesterday. Brandon
Bryce
Marsh tallied 2 hits yesterday.
The power is not there with Bryce, but it seems as if the stroke is.
Yeah, the bat's there.
And that's honestly is all I give a damn.
Now joined by our man from the Inquirer on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. Our man Jeff McClain joins us. Jeff, good morning, brother.
Hey guys, how are you? They weren't going to let him go into the last year of a deal without an extension. They don't want to have a lame duck coach, especially one that just won a Super Bowl. Jeffrey Lurie intimated as much that something was going to be announced soon. So, it was just a matter of when. They said multi-year extension. My guess is 3-4 years, something like that. Trying to dig up a little more on that. And then I guess the other question is how much. It's got to be as much as any other coach. Top guys are getting paid. So you're thinking double digits per year in the millions, 10, 12 possibly.
America, to its detriment or not, doesn't care about Europe. Doesn't care about what Europeans like.
Should.
They don't. Don't give a damn. They care about what Americans like.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Man.
They like what they like and have their
crepes suck. I'm a pancake guy.
There it is. You don't want crepes.
It's just really thin pancakes, man. How comfortable are you with Nick Sirianni as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles? It is Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
You doing all right there?
I just saw a great line from one of our YouTube commenters. So,
okay,
during the key 3, I am now throwing pieces of paper at the overhead camera.
All right,
because I did not realize until last week that we are on YouTube during the key 3. So for the last year and change of this show, you've just been watching us pick our nose during those 3 minutes, and I had a pretty bad performance today.
You did. You looked terrible.
Uncharacteristic, because usually I can hit my spots.
They look like Matt Strom today. You'd had some really good performances, and you had your just unexpected terrible.
Yeah, I showed off my juggling though, which was impressive.
You did.
John,
after a good start, yeah.
Money Mar checks in. This is not right.
All right.
This is wrong of you, Money Mar. He says Chunas has the arm talent of Jim Abbott with one arm tied behind his back.
Oh, jeez.
And in case people don't know,
that's a funny line, though.
Jim Abbott has one hand. By the way, threw a no-hitter. He
did, which is amazing.
That's one of the coolest random baseball stories.
He threw the pitch with his one hand, and then would put the glove on.
Yeah. So did you know this, Gunner?
No.
So Jim Abbott.
Wait, you don't know this story?
He had one hand, and so he
and he had a stump.
A stump. Like the
stump. No, he did.
Oh, he did.
Is that what it's called?
Remember the player for the Seahawks?
He had a stump.
There was a player for the Seahawks, too. So what he would do is...
He was the twin brother, yeah.
He had his glove on his hand, the stump.
On the stump.
And as he released, he practiced so much that as he released, he would be able to slide his hand into the glove so that if there was a comebacker, he would catch it.
And he would.
And he threw a no-hitter.
That's awesome.
With one hand.
I guess he couldn't hit anything without a hand, but damn.
He couldn't juggle, but he could do that.
Well,
that was amazing.
He could juggle one-handed.
He was amazing.
Possibly.
He was absolutely amazing. By the way, there is a picture on the New York Post of Juan Soto, and the headline is Juan Slow-Mo because of his problems running out of the box.
Yeah.
It is not photoshopped. The Mets beat writer has said it is not photoshopped, and I just want you to look at it. I'm telling you this right now, as we head into Memorial Day weekend, I got a better physique.
Wow. You're looking good, Johnny.
Look at Juan Soto. Juan Soto is spilling out. He's spilling out.
These are things that you have to take when you sign Juan Soto. Like, these aren't things that I'm surprised about.
How could he be having that much hangover on a belt?
You give me $725 million.
Yeah, but how can that be?
I'll be hungover.
Wait a minute. How old is Juan Soto?
He's young. He's
like 25,
How can
26.
he be 20? How can he be 25 years old and have a belly like that?
He just wanted more power. That's all.
Yeah, but how? How can you have a belly at 25? Who has a belly at 25?
Maybe it was just a bad picture.
No, it's not. It's not. And the Mets beat writers say that is not Photoshop. That is not a doctored picture. It is not made to make him look bad.
By the way, he's 26, turns 27 this October.
Dude, you're not 26 with that belly. That's not good. That is if I'm the owner, I am pissed off. Like, what are you doing? What are you eating? What are you doing?
By the way, Neil is disappointed in you, Brendan. And way to go. This is your fault, Gunner. He goes, it's amazing how the younger generation has no clue about history.
I
We're the
apologize,
same
Neil.
age, and I know who Jim Abbott is. Stop trying to do this whole millennial thing.
And Neil's a good YouTube commenter. I appreciate what he has to say, but I mean, how the hell would Jim Abbott pitch for the Angels and the Yankees?
Yeah, but it's a
Come on, it's a man that had one hand.
And now I know.
And for a no-hitter, it's an
He was a
iconic
one-handed
moment.
pitcher.
And now I know because an older guy told me what he did.
Oh, my God.
Like, that's how you learn.
And am I the older guy?
Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. They're a good partner. They made a donation to the AACR. 97.5 The Fanatic.com/AACR, the American Association for Cancer Research, because cancer research saves lives.
All right, but have a great rest of your day. Mike Missanelli Show comes your way.